Let's have trial by combat.
O'er the land of the free.
Now it is up to Congress to confront this egregious assault on our democracy. And after this, we're going to walk down, and I'll be there with you. We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
We'll pause.
Protesters are in the building.
Thank you.
There wasn't anything to say.
They're gonna stand.
A lot of evil has been done under the name of just following orders.
All right. So I'm just going to throw us on. First of all, welcome to Talk Your Shit. This is a candid conversation of where we're just going to come in and just have a conversation about what's going on in the world. I just want to give a disclaimer. First off, listen, it doesn't matter who you are, what you identify as. I don't care whether you are blind, straight, crip, or crazy, what race you are. Listen, we are going to have a conversation tonight about what is going on in the world, okay? And so by no means does anything we're going to discuss, is it being brushed with a broad stroke, okay? When we say one thing, it does not mean a representation of all people, okay? So listen, when we mention a certain race, it doesn't mean all people. There are some people that are in that race that just identify as that, okay? So I just want to be clear and get that out the way. If we're talking about certain people, whether it's politics, race, ethnicities, I just want to be clear that no one here by any means, and I know pretty much everybody on the panel, identifies as any type of bigot or racist or anything like that. We love everyone, but we have to call some things out, okay? There's some fucked up shit going on. And let me also say, I'm gonna apologize now for any family that's watching this, but I'm gonna talk my shit. So if you don't want to hear it, you might want to click off. So I started that video because I feel like that's where it really began. Do we feel like he incited that?
He most definitely incited that.
Definitely, 100%.
You had all him and his clansmen inciting the whole thing. Rudolph, his son, himself, combat.
Yeah,
those are the words he used to go to the Capitol. He said, "Stand back and be ready." Like, what type of president says anything like that?
Yeah, first of all, he's not fit to be president. Like,
not at all.
Just think we got a lot of shit going on in the next 11 days of his presidency. Like, I've never seen anything like this. Like, I just feel like I don't even know where I'm at.
I feel like we're in 1861.
Exactly.
When you have these people saying, you know what, we want to secede from the Union, and have our own goofy ass Confederacy, right? And so these people, and even then, it was all about like being crybabies. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't get your way, so we're gonna go take our ball and go elsewhere, right? But instead of you being civil about it or respectful, because I guarantee you this, I tell you this: when Trump got elected, right, there was a young lady I went to college with. She was in the, she was in the armed forces, Navy, ROTC, whatever. She's on that side, right? And the first thing she did was say, "Oh, you're a sore loser and a crybaby because Trump won." And I was like, "Nah," because Trump was all he's ever done is use hateful rhetoric. He's never been on the side of anybody. I'm talking about ethnic groups building the wall, right? Women, they're very misogynistic. You know what I'm saying? Now, even in terms of, I never heard of anything that he said that was like anti-LGBT, but it's Trump. You won't put it past him. You feel me? So yeah, all these things that he said about building the wall. Even when Obama was president, he had the audacity to question his birthright. Now, far be it from me, but if I ever see anybody do that to a president in the past, they got fried and put to the side. But for some odd reason, it was cool to do that to Obama. So you've seen this behavior from this guy from even before day one. You know what I'm saying? To come into his presidency, he's been all about the hate. So when you have someone at a high point who preaches hate in a variety of ways, then all the creeps come out and say, you know what? If he can do it, then it's safe for us to do it too.
Exactly.
And that behavior mimics answered his behavior. And then you have what happened on Wednesday. Like, and I'll give everybody time to speak. I'm sorry, but it just got me all riled up because listen, there's no way in hell that what happened on Wednesday is normal. It's not natural. That was some off the wall shit.
Well, you know what? Let's revise that. It's normal for them.
Right, my bad.
Because you know what? They're comfortable with that. And the only reason that was allowed to happen, and let's be clear, and anybody that says that, there's a lot of people of color who always say, well, I don't understand what race has to do with this. That was a bunch of white people that were up there storming a bunch of white people and people of color in the Capitol. But it wasn't just white people. So let's just debunk that now, because there were some people out there that looked just like you and me.
There were some, yes.
Yeah, there were some. And
But the majority of the people were the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants.
yes.
What we saw was privilege at its best. That's what we saw Wednesday.
Yes, but let's be clear. The only reason why that was able to happen is because, one, white people are not afraid of the police.
Right.
And I feel like white people are not afraid of other white people.
Oh.
It's called privilege. That's what it's called.
But we need to really, I just don't understand what makes it a thing where that shit Wednesday was just unreal. And so it just makes me think, what is it about people of color, Black people specifically, that just screams aggression? That was the most aggressive shit I've ever seen in the world on Wednesday.
Right.
That's how they made us.
I'll let someone else chime in.
That's how they made us. Like, because look, you paint this picture of Black folks being gorillas, being aggressive, being monsters, right? And all of a sudden you start believing the hype or what you think that we are. When we protesting for our rights and for justice and all those things that we deserve as human beings, right? Like Malcolm X made this one point. He was like, we're not fighting for civil rights. It's for human rights.
Human rights.
So we can see ourselves as humans. We got to fight for that. We out here dying, getting shot, and all types of things are happening to us just so we can show that we're human beings. You know what I'm saying? Y'all already have that. That's what I'm saying. Like, you have everything already. So why is it that you feel like you have nothing when we feel like we have to tell you guys that our lives matter, and these things matter? And I just don't get it. I don't get it.
Yeah, I'll let Jen. You want to chime in?
It's to me, it's audacity. The audacity of it is what really bothered me. It's I don't even want to say a mental illness because that's given these folks an excuse. 'Cause mental illness is real, mental health, that's all real, and that's giving these folks an excuse. It's just, and I'm not going to mince my words, but I don't want to offend anybody necessarily because I do have a lot of white friends.
I gave the disclaimer. You could talk your shit.
Okay, cool, cool. But it's to me.
Didn't just say I have white friends.
Right, that's the thing, right?
I didn't mean it like that, but yeah, it's a deep seated a hate, and I don't know. I feel like if you look back at history throughout history, there's been other people who have been violent and waged wars and conquered other people and places, things like that. But if you look back at history, the history of the European person, how they've gone all around the world, and just it's like every other society that the European has come in contact with, they have ravaged, like just decimated, just for no reason at all other than power and greed and hate. And that's what we are seeing now. That's what we saw on Wednesday. It's just, the world is changing. The world is getting a lot browner. It's getting a lot blacker. And that scares a lot of people. That scares a lot of these people. They don't want it to change. They want everything to stay the same, the exact way it has been. They don't want to give up their privilege. They don't want to give up their power. They don't want to let go of the system of white supremacy, because that means, they might be the ones who are on the other end of the stick. But the funny thing about that is, as far as Black people go, if we were anything how they always try to make us out to be, thugs, gangbangers, monsters, rapists, killers, all the other stuff, we would have been burnt this country to the ground. There would not be in America, because if anybody has a reason to hate this country and to want to destroy it, it's us. It's us.
Exactly.
But the fact is, we also built this country, like literally. So we have every right to this country and everything that it affords, just as much as white Americans do. So I think, and also have always been a people who have been very spiritual, very close to God, whatever God that is that we have prayed for, whether, Christians or, whatever we were, gods we were praying to in Africa. We've always been a very spiritual people. So that type of, in my opinion, that type of destruction and carnage isn't in us as a people. It really isn't. And that's why we haven't done the things that people always say that, claim that we're capable of and claim that we are. But yeah, I just think that Wednesday, like my mind is still blown. Like that's what it's going to take me a second to kind of really get my thoughts, but my mind is still blown. I really can't believe that. I cannot believe that nothing like that has happened in our nation's capital since the War of 1812. Like, it's mind blowing.
But
mind blowing.
And you know what? To add to that, what the biggest takeaway for me when I saw that was that we showed other countries how easy it is to overtake and overthrow our democracy.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yes. Okay, two things real quick, right? One thing I'll mention, not forget, manifest destiny. That's always been how this country's been pushed.
Exactly.
What we want, we take, right?
Exactly.
And number two, you mentioned how it's so easy it is for us to overthrow our government. We've been doing that in other countries. We read the CIA and other government agencies.
Exactly.
Forever.
Exactly.
Forever.
Exactly.
Which is why that Malcolm quote about when chickens come home to roost.
Exactly.
It wasn't just about JFK. It was about how they were saying that how like someone who was trained came back and did it to him, compared to how we've done in other countries. Like,
right.
What happened on Wednesday is as American as apple pie.
Exactly. Yeah. Malcolm said that America has a culture of hate in it, and that's absolutely right. Like, you're absolutely right. America has a culture of hate, and we've been going around the world for years, for generations, doing that same thing, helping to overthrow democratically elected leaders. That's why so many of these other countries that we end up going into wars with, or these countries that end up getting like these warlords and like the ISIS and all these other groups, it's because a lot of it is because of the stuff that we did, the stuff that we helped put in place. They had leaders, democratically elected leaders, people who wanted to do something for their country, and then we said, "Oh no," because that's going to
revolt. Exactly.
And so we, send whoever in there to stir stuff up, and then next, like Libya, for instance, like Libya, and look at Libya now. Look at Iraq now. Say what you want about Saddam Hussein, but Iraq wasn't like this when Saddam Hussein was in power. Look at Iraq now. So I mean, it's crazy. It really is. It's crazy.
Let's get Chaz in. Chaz, you got some words?
Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, no or yes?
Yes.
Yes. Welcome.
All right. Welcome. Hey, everybody. So here's the deal. Everything that happened on Wednesday was a complete travesty to this nation, but I'm not surprised. I was shocked that it actually, went as far as it did, but I'm not surprised. This is going to continue. I was just actually watching a broadcast before I got on, and they were talking about January 17th is the day that all of the capitals are supposed to be under some type of attack in this country. Every capital is supposed to be under some type of attack. And then on January 20th, they're going back to the Capitol in D.C. To finish what they started, basically. So this is, as Jennifer was saying earlier, this is a country of hate, and the people who are very hateful, hate Black people, hate brown people, they're showing the true colors right now, and they do not care. They give no damn as far as what they're willing to do to show that. They also showed some tweets from Twitter talking about, what they were going to do, how they're going to take the country back, and, they're going to set things right. And this is all because of Trump. When he got elected, he allowed the people who feel the way that they feel now to really, to get a platform and to say, I'm a racist, I'm a xenophobe, I'm a homophobe, I'm, everything that is, anti-American. And so really, there's no going back. We are where we are. And it's only going to get worse, in my opinion, just because Trump leaves office. There was one tweet that actually said, it's not about Trump being in power anymore. This is about war. So we're literally about to have a civil war here in our country. And it's going to be those people, we call them, Retrumplicans or, Redemicans or whatever you call them, Trumpers. But at the end of the day, we need to gear up because it's real now, but it's about to get really real.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
I was just saying already, I need to go ahead and get me some steel.
Yeah, some protection.
I've already made plans to go to a gun range and purchase myself as well, because after Wednesday, no telling what's going to happen.
Exactly.
And I live in Pennsylvania, so one of the biggest racist states in the country. So
yeah,
we're all from Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
Okay, well there we are. Okay, I didn't know everyone. Yeah.
We got Philly here, we got Pittsburgh here, we got a little bit of everything here.
Yeah, between Philly and Pittsburgh is like
everything between Philly and Pittsburgh.
Right.
I went to school in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and every year they would have a KKK march through the city up until every single year.
Yeah,
when I first started school, they did not observe Martin Luther King Day at my university.
What?
Wow.
Yes. Yep.
Not surprising though, I guess.
Not surprised. And it was a state school.
What year was this?
1999. Not that long ago. Yeah.
No, we all started in
That's
2000.
right on par.
Yeah.
That's right on par. Yeah.
Right. So there seems to be this blurred line between, we were out there protesting. Okay, so everybody, I don't have to read it, but I'm going to post it here so everybody can see what a protest is. Okay. maybe I should read it. You know what? A protest is a complaint or objection against an idea, an act, or a way of doing things and or event in which people gather to show disapproval of something. What we saw on
Was not a
Wednesday
protest.
was this terrorism. Domestic terrorism on American soil. And terrorism is what? According to the FBI, it is the unlawful use of force and violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof. Essentially, that's what it was.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
No question.
A domestic terrorist.
That was their aim. I was even reading something today. One of them said, "Yeah, we terrorized them. Like they were scared. The police were running from us. That was their goal. That was their goal to bring fear and terror." Funny thing is, they may have brought fear and terror to those older, middle-aged and a lot of older Congress people and I mean, I guess anybody who was down there and that type of crowd, that type of they anybody would have been scared. But I mean, I'm not sitting scared. I don't know about anybody. I'm not sitting scared. I don't want to have to live in a world or in a country rather where this is our reality. We're already dealing with COVID. Everybody's dealing with their own interpersonal issues in their lives. And now we got to deal with these people wanting to start a civil war for what? Because you're so hateful, because you just can't go about your daily life and be a normal human being. And, you don't got to like everybody. You don't got to agree with everybody, but you just want to be hateful and do the things that they did on Wednesday. So I'm not scared. I'm sure a lot of people who aren't scared, but
y'all being too PC, because let me tell you something. If I was Capitol Police on Wednesday, and it's coming out that it might have been an inside job, but let's just say it wasn't an inside job, and I was there, the news would have went a little different. They would have said it was a massacre. Exactly. I would have felt like I was in imminent danger. Exactly. Just like when the tables are turned, and when Black people are non-aggressive and they feel like they are in imminent danger, I would have just started shooting. You're not going to get that close to me.
Exactly.
I'm sure they had orders not to shoot. I'm almost certain of it, because they broke the windows, broke the doors, climbed up the building, and the one lady got shot. But other than that, no one else got shot. All those people invaded the Capitol, the U.S. Senate and the U.S. Congress, and one person got shot. Are you serious?
You know what? Let's take the reason. Let's hold that thought. Let's take a segue and see what actually took place.
They're leaving. They're leaving. We don't want to circle inside. We just want. These guys ain't the ones that fuck the blue!
We want you to go home. I'm recording, and there's so many people. It's just they're gonna push their way up here. Bro, I see people out there get hurt. I don't want to see you get hurt. We will make a path dead ass. Like we don't want. That's what I'm saying. We'll make a path, bro. Please, just let us make a path. Just let us make a path. When the whole country hates I want you to go home. Go. Let's go. Get this shit.
You know what?
Hey,
no.
Can I just say
way.
one thing? I just
Yes.
want to know what happened to Blue Lives at that moment. What happened to Blue Lives Matter?
Right.
Ain't no fucking
I
way.
guess
It would have been a
Blue Lives did
massacre.
not matter that day.
Oh, check this out. There's a video.
Well, just
my bad. That's out there, right?
okay.
And the cop waved the dude in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
I think I've seen that. Yeah,
They were taking selfies with people.
Yeah.
yeah.
They needed to get fired. They all need to be fired.
Well, the captain of
the police, the Capitol Police Chief has resigned.
Resigned, yes.
His position, and like you said, there were a number of Capitol Police that were actually taking pictures with these thugs, with these mobsters. And I think
call them what they are.
Like the guy said, we backed y'all in the in the summertime. We backed y'all, and all of a sudden now it's fuck the blue. You understand what I'm saying? You hear me say? So they switched this.
Blue Lives didn't matter.
I think. Right, it didn't matter, and it never really mattered. That was just something so they could be against black people. That was just something to say. That was, think tank terms and all kind of narratives, just so that you could say, "I'm against black people." This is a way for me to say it without actually being a racist or without saying, calling a black person a nigger or something like that. It was just one of those ways to go about it. The problem is that I don't know if the Capitol Police are. Their training is different, I'm sure, just because of what they have to protect and who they have to protect. But I wish that the cops and every other city and state could take, they are fully equipped. They show too much restraint. They show way too much restraint. You should have, treated them, worse than what you treated the Black Lives Matter protesters.
But they didn't.
Nope.
And they didn't. And that was a great mistake on their part. And they paid for it. And they're going to continue to pay for that. It just exposed them to the world. It's
yeah.
The night shift cops came through, pushing people out, knocking them down. But I'm like, where were you people in the daytime when people need to get knocked out?
There was no pepper spray. There were no gunshots, no batons. They did nothing.
No.
They quietly or pushed them back like there was no force. Even after all of that happened. We get pepper sprayed. I watched a video of a little girl being pepper sprayed at a march down south. She was like 6 or 7 years old and she was pepper sprayed.
6 years old.
And then this didn't happen to these white folk in DC that supported Trump.
It was definitely an inside job. I was reading an article earlier today, and they were saying that someone from the National Guard, they offered immediately to have the National Guard come in, and the Capitol Police Chief was saying, "Oh no, it's we don't need you right now."
Yeah, and Trump held off on that too.
I'm sure Trump had a lot to do with that. I'm sure he had a lot to do with it.
Because we don't know, but allegedly,
Trump had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, because
it was an inside job for sure.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: everybody was going crazy, right? But he was nowhere to be found.
Nowhere. Exactly. And he said he was going to march with them.
They were partying before he went out there to do that. I don't know if y'all saw on Instagram.
Oh yeah, him and his kid.
Eric Jr. and all of them, they out there. Big fun.
Yeah.
Under a tent, drinking. Nobody really wearing masks. I mean, there was a couple masks. Let me be clear. There were a couple masks, but this shit is just unreal.
They knew exactly what happened.
Can we just take away just like all the devastation for a second and just really talk about, let's just separate ourselves from all the black and color and white and stuff. Let's talk about just real life and just let's look at corporate America and how things work. Those senators, congressmen, and congresswomen were at work. Okay? They're at work. They're not volunteers for the Boys and Girls Club of America. They were doing their job. Could you imagine being at work? That to me was equivalent of like a shooter in place.
Exactly. An active shooter, exactly.
Yeah.
Like that, I was afraid, like my anxiety, like when one of the senators was on the news saying he had to lock himself and barricade himself in the office. He said, all I had was a baseball bat. He said, I didn't know what to do. He said, I just knew that if somebody was coming through that door, I was going to have to try and do my best to defend myself. Nobody should have to do that at work. And most businesses, this is HR 101. It's called duty to care. Your job has a duty and a responsibility to protect you as much as they can, which is why they should have active shooter drills and fire drills and, you know, all these things and precautions so that you are prepared and that they can help prepare you so that everyone can be safe.
But we're talking about the United States Capitol, where you have the senators and you have the congressmen and congresswomen.
Right.
They should have all of that should already be in place.
Right.
There was no way that they should have been able to get into that building and to get into the Senate House. That's history.
But even if someone said, you know what, fall back, if someone just even directed the Capitol Police to say, you know what, chill out, that should have been the last thing anybody should have said. It should have been shoot first and ask questions later.
Exactly.
What if they would have massacred our whole democracy? That's everybody that can
everybody.
Exactly.
It could have been any type of train. Excuse me. Go ahead.
Well, real quick question, right? That's your question. Now, remember 9/11, right? And you had everything happened after that. Patriot Act, how everything was being tapped, everybody was being watched, phone calls, text messages, emails, everything, right? You mean to tell me that you didn't see this coming?
Exactly.
Tweeting about it, making videos about it. You're seeing people on the plane saying, we're going to DC, we're going to do this and that. You mean to tell me that you didn't see none of this shit happen beforehand, and you didn't get people on the ground, standing right in front, National Guard already there? You mean to tell me there's no armed forces in DC ready, set, and ready to go?
Right.
That's exactly. They should have. I've marched in several BLM.
The reason why that there wasn't is because they were. Go ahead, Sean.
I was just saying I marched in several BLM protests this past summer, and every single one there were tons of cops, helicopters, squads. They had set up. Everything was protected. But you're telling me you can go to the Capitol and bust through and attack our democracy?
Right.
But I can't protest down Benjamin Parkway in Philadelphia freely and peaceful at that.
Right.
What was you gonna say, Chad?
There's two parts. The first thing being, and what it really was, is that number one, they're white. The majority of them are white, so they were looked at as people that are non-threatening. That's the first thing. That's really what it is.
Right.
The second thing is that because they are Trumplicans, they're the people of law and order. So if they do, come to DC and they do, come on Capitol grounds, they're not going to cause a disturbance. They're just going to chant for their president because they're non-threatening people. And that's why it wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't taken as seriously as it should have been. And also because in that Capitol Police, in that whole entire agency, there are people that voted for Trump. There are people that believe in Trump. And so they believe, well, these are my comrades that are coming and they're not going to cause us any trouble. So they could come and protest in peace and we don't have to worry about it. And then if they because they got a little out of control in the beginning, they start to get out of control. Well, they're okay. They know that we're people of law and order. We're okay. Let's take some pictures with them. Let's calm them down. Let's do this. Let's do that. And they get to the point where it got to, and they realize they don't give a fuck about the blue. They don't care about y'all. They're about Trump, and these are people that got a platform to spew all of their hate and all of their, the worst that they are, the worst that we have in people. And they were able to put that out there. And that's why, again, they were white, non-threatening, and that's how they seen them, and that's why they didn't take it as serious.
Right.
But if you remember in 2016 with all his KKK rallies as he was running for president, they were very violent.
Yes, they were. Yes, they were.
People were outside peacefully protesting at those rallies, and his supporters were attacking black females, black men, all throughout.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't you think these same people are going to be peaceful now?
Exactly.
Right.
He showed us who he was. Right. His supporters showed us who he was. But people still went out and voted for him. Black people too. Other people of color, people still went out and voted for this man after he showed us who he was. And his supporters showed us who they were. But so that it blows my mind. And I'm so don't want to say angry, but I feel some type of way right now against the people who voted for him the first time and the people who voted for him this time. Like it's mind blowing to me. It really is.
We really need to do a case study. Because I feel like a lot of people who voted for Trump, at least the people I know, won't never publicly admit it.
He had 71 million votes. Let's
right.
71 million.
He had a lot of votes.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's not admitting it. Like, let's just be honest. Like, they're not admitting it. They are in the closet, for lack of better terms.
Right. And they should be.
Closet Trump supporters. There we go.
Yes, they're in the closet. It's okay. Come out, honey. It's all right.
No, they need to stay in there. They should be ashamed of themselves for voting for that piece of trash. They should be ashamed of themselves, especially the people who, people who say that they're Christians, and they voted for him for, because of conservative policies, and things of that nature. The one thing I keep hearing is, because he said he was going to, or the Republicans wanted to get rid of overturn Roe versus Wade. So that was a big reason why a lot of Christians voted for him. Like, stop. So, but it's just mind blowing. Like, okay, so you're concerned about life, and I get that. I'm a Christian too. You're concerned about life, but what about the rest of us? What about our lives? Like that. They don't see past that. Like, even with all this going on, at one point.
Even with all of this going on, like, yeah, they don't like him as a person, but there's something about his policy. It's like it's about self-preservation, really. They may not like him, but how is it going to impact me? So it's about the taxes. It's about Roe versus Wade, Christian beliefs. It's like they separate the man from what they believe, and to me, it's almost like the same thing. I've never really met a politician. I mean, it's possible that what they're campaigning is not what they actually believe. Okay, we get that. They're a politician.
Well, his supporters are allowed to be who they really are.
Right.
They don't have to hide anymore.
Right.
Like, if I walk into the store, someone could just say, "Don't take my pocketbook." Before they would just look at me crazy, but now they'll just say it out loud because they have him in office and they can do what they want. They can be open. It's like that Kodak commercial. I see your true colors. I see them shining through.
Well, you know what? Not to sound insensitive, and you know what? Listen. Let me preference this with, any person that's no longer here is a soul that is lost, and I don't wish death on anyone. But you know what? I will say this. When you play silly games, you win dumb prizes. And speaking of no more, meet Ashley Babbitt. Okay.
Kyle, I thought I was bad.
They put her on permanent timeout.
No, because we're gonna talk our shit tonight. Okay, it's not a game.
Let's do it.
I've been waiting for this shit. Y'all real PC tonight. Y'all real PC.
You know what? I told you I'm drinking my water, so I.
Well, you need to add some tonic to that and add some tequila. Okay.
That's what I need to do. My bottle.
Wait, Kyle, what's her name again? What is her name?
I think her name is Ashley Babbitt. Okay.
Babbitt's.
Ashley.
And Wednesday was Babbitt season. I'm sorry.
Babbitt season. Wacky.
You think if she knew the outcome, she would have changed her mind?
You know what? No, because let me tell you something. She would have died for what she believed in. Because those are the type of people that follow him. And I want you to be clear.
I won't call her a martyr. She's just the dumbass.
To us.
She's a terrorist. I got killed.
We're not going to put that into a word. Whatever that word you keep saying, trumpeteer or Trump, whatever that is.
Trumperkin.
Whatever.
Trumperkin.
We're not making that a word, okay? That's like fetch. Stop.
They already did it. I
call them MAGAs.
That cannot be a word. You know what?
Cousins.
Listen, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate, but you know what? What does she expect? You storming into a federal building where people are at work.
Right. And she's an Air Force veteran. She's an Air Force veteran.
Is she an Air Force veteran?
She was in Iraq and Afghanistan And she's only she was only 35, you know, so it's like okay. And because I respect the military. I have a lot of people in my family we're in the military. I love my military folks. But it's like you went over there, you risked your life over there. I don't know, what her role exactly was, but I know she was in Afghanistan and Iraq. And it's like you risked your life over there, only to come home and, end up dying over some bullshit for a man who doesn't couldn't have given a damn about you, who, if he would have met you in real life, you made him mad, he probably would have talked about how much you aren't attractive and you look like a man. And you know how he likes to talk
or
about.
He might have tried to grab her,
Exactly.
But let's not say that she died for what she believed. And that she probably, there's no way she could have thought storming the Capitol was not going to end up the way it is. In fact, all of them could be blessed and lucky that none of them were massacred on the steps. All of the steps could be bloody.
Exactly.
Okay?
They should be.
So
when God met her,
that's how I know God is good.
He said, "No, ma'am, no, ma'am." I hope he said, "No, ma'am."
Listen, this is how.
Or he said, "I wanted him to say, bye, girl."
This is how deranged.
I think the issue is that the reason why she went there, because again, she's a white woman and she thought, these cops are going to be on our side and we're going to be able to go to the Capitol and, protest for our president and get our point across and make America great again. And she thought that she would be unharmed. That's really what she thought, which is why she was so bold and so aggressive, which is why they were all so bold and so aggressive. She just happened to be in the line of fire, to be honest. But the way that gun was pointed with the angle, she just happened to be in the line of fire. It could have been any one of those guys that was surrounded around her. But the fact of the matter is that is the result because of the decision that you made. That was the seed that you sowed. It came to harvest. And that's just really what it is. You just happened to be the one that died, but that's what you get for your behavior.
Yes.
Your behavior put you in that position.
That's right, Chaz. That's right.
Chaz, you preaching tonight. Listen, come on.
Wish I had a tambourine right now.
Listen, we're going to have a moment of a couple words from Ashley from Beyond the Grave. Give us one moment, please.
Oh, no.
Not Beyond the Grave.
Where is everybody? Huh? You got where is Kamala? Where is Kamala? Talking about ISIS like KKK. We got this migrant caravan. You know what? We have thousands of people on the other side of the border. You people can't get to work. Our economy is going to take an absolute tank because you guys refuse to choose America over your stupid political party. I am so tired of it. You try to make it with these wide-angle lenses, and you try to make it that your echo chambers have these large followings. You got 40 people showing up, and you want to do a headline with CNN talking about, oh, we got massive protests for Trump shutting the borders. No, we do not. No, we do not. What we do have is a massive amount of pissed off people like I am because you guys will not sit down and do your jobs. California is suffering. Our homeless problem is out of control. Our drugs are out of control. When you have to have a budget to clean up human fecal matter off the roads, that is a problem, okay? This is absolutely insane. The meth problem, the fentanyl problem, the heroin problem, the illegal this is crazy, okay? Everybody wants immigration, but we need to do it the right and correct way. This is getting out of control, and you guys are lying. Why are you lying? Why are you lying? And why are you so worried about what everybody else is doing? I want to talk about what you're doing. Like I said, you can consider yourself put on notice. Me and the American people. I am so tired of this. I am woke, man. This is absolutely unbelievable. Get your shit together. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean to laugh like that.
Two things I can take from that is
She said she was woke.
when she said she was woke, and at the beginning she said "you people," but
oh Jesus!
I just want to go to the. I wonder what the eulogy is going to be like.
If Trump is gonna
What
attempt.
What do they say at that eulogy?
Oops.
You know what? Listen, it doesn't get more patriotic than down in the Capitol.
How much of an American patriot she was.
Right.
I want to know because she was in the military. You know, are they going to give her? You know, when you're
are they going to pay for it? Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, because what they did was treasonous. So
that was insurrection, treason,
an attempted coup. Yeah. So
they need to put on her tombstone. She died for what she believed in.
She just tainted her own legacy. She tainted her own legacy. You know, like I said, she served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and you know what I mean. And she just tainted her own legacy. And just imagine, like, dying for Donald Trump, because that, in essence, that's what she did. She died for Donald Trump. Dying for Donald Trump, really? Who thinks Donald Trump would die for them? Who?
He wouldn't.
Exactly.
Joel said, just a rant from a clueless person, dead or alive, don't mean shit to me. Oh, shit.
Right.
Hey, Joel.
I think, and it's important to be clear, too, that the America she was talking about was her America. The America that Trump, you know, make America great again. They weren't talking about our America. The America that we see, the America that we live in. It was the America in her mind that she was raised to believe, which is, you know, which goes against Black people. Black and brown people, to be completely honest. So when she was over in Iraq and Afghanistan, she was going over there to fight for her America,
right?
Not for all Americans. So, and the same mindset she has now, I honestly believe, is the same mindset and the same belief system that she had while she was over there.
100%.
We lost prayers.
That's true. She probably did. She probably did.
Mindset is something that you're raised for. You're raised to think like that.
Exactly.
You know what?
Racism and stereotypes are learned behaviors.
Right.
Yes.
So it begins there. So when you're kids, you don't know anything about that.
You don't.
Right.
And your parents teach you how to don't like these people because they're bad. Don't like these Black people because they steal. They do this. They do that. That's all learned behaviors.
Exactly.
It's one thing I want to tell you guys about, right? What happened, his presidency has been done before, but this time it's been more effective. I'll explain to you what I mean. The entire slogan, "Make America Great Again," is not an original slogan.
Right, exactly.
That was Ronald Reagan's slogan, right? And the connection between Reagan's slogan and Trump, besides bad hair, right, is the fact that there was Roger Stone. And you know who Roger Stone is?
Yes.
Okay, if you haven't, check out the documentary on Netflix. Roger Stone worked with Nixon, right? He got into the office of working with Reagan. The whole slogan, "Make America Great Again," the whole nine, working for the American, how he turned this actor, who was became a governor, right? He was actor first, governor, then became the president. Now, when Reagan was done, right? Let's go to 1988. Roger Stone said himself, he saw Trump, how Trump moved around. He said, one day that guy could be president. These were his exact words, okay? So Trump's whole rise has been planned since 88, as per this documentary. Now, when it comes down to us, Black folks, I have to question us too, because we championed Donald Trump a lot in the 90s. Not his views, but we saw the money in the paper and we aspired to do that, right? But it was funny that because of 1989, he's the same person who got a full-page ad calling for the execution of 5 young Black teenagers who were falsely accused of raping
in Central Park.
Central Park, right? Now it only exonerated at 5. See, all these things are happening. And, like Trump can money like this guy, money like this guy. And then he get The Apprentice. Everybody's still bigging him up, right? So you have these both sides of the culture who give this guy props.
Right.
So once he gets in the office, people aren't know what to expect, right? Me, I'm like, this dude isn't a politician. He has no business being in there, or whatever. He got in on the idea of sensationalism. That's all that he is. You know what I'm saying? He's just this person who rides on his vibe that people believe in. Because that's the thing that I learned. Like dumbass conspiracy theories, if enough people believe in it, then it becomes true, right? So you have enough people believe in this shit about Trump being the voice of the voiceless, right? Which is crazy because people who are considered voiceless have been talking nonstop. You've been making all the rules nonstop. You've been harassing people nonstop. You know what I'm saying? So we get to a point now where these same people are crying and whining about power that they think that they lost.
Right.
But in actuality, no matter if you have Trump for president or Biden for president, if you're white in America, you're still going to get a leg up on everybody else. So what are you really crying and bitching about? Pardon my language. But what are you crying about?
Right.
Really? You're crying about the appearance of lost power? Because I can tell you right now, Biden becomes president, I still got to work twice as hard for the same position you guys can get via your families.
Exactly.
And you're protected. You're protected no matter what.
It's just hate. That's how you know it's just hate because there's no ration behind it. That's how you know it's just hate. That's all it is. The most privileged person on the planet, in my opinion, is the white American. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. The most privileged person and most protected person on the planet is the white American. Not even like the white European, that's something else. But the white American, first of all, because you're American, but second of all, because you're white, it's the white American. So the fact that these people think they've been so wronged, and they have to do all this, it's mind-boggling. What are you upset about? What are you upset about? Everything is set up, every system, every law, all of this is designed to help you, not anybody else. It's designed to help you. What are you upset about? It's hate.
But we can talk about why they're upset. They're upset that they have to share. Listen, the biggest thing that comes to mind with white America losing their mind was when they had to integrate. Okay.
Right.
It was like, you know what? We will burn this goddamn town down before our kids have to learn together, before we got to sit next to me on the bus. I'd rather burn the bus down.
Plessy versus Ferguson, Brown versus the Board of Education.
Exactly.
Like, just the thought, like, I don't like to sound like a pessimistic person, but I just feel like this is just, it's like history repeating itself. And honestly, the cards have been stacked against us. It's just like, at this point, we are maintaining our life, and we're fighting hard for our independence and fighting hard to be equal. And honestly, you know, I feel like we should just have our goddamn own. Just have our own. Support our own. We've had it before. And when we did Black Wall Street, what did they do? They burned it down.
Right.
They tortured us. They killed us, massacred us because we had our own. So it's like we can't make it with them. They don't want us to make it without them.
Right.
Like, what do you want?
Like you said, history always repeats itself. So after after the Civil War, you had the period of Reconstruction.
Right.
So that's when we had blacks who were getting into politics. People own businesses, they own properties, and that's where we may need to go right back to, because this is just going to repeat itself over and over again. So now we in a sense, I hate to say separate, but we kind of have to just learn to support our own, so we can advance as a people, because we are still not there. You know, we've been fighting for years, like, and we continue to fight, and we still do not have those same equal rights, or not a better to us at all.
I agree. More of us need to take these things seriously, though. Like, one thing I noticed on Wednesday, and I agree with this part. There were a lot of people I saw on my timeline on Facebook and on Instagram saying, "Black people, this ain't your fight." I agree with that as far as don't try to go to DC if you're not from DC and try to counter protest, or if you're in DC, don't try to go and fight these people. No, that part, no, that's not our fight. I agree with that. But just in general, yes, it kind of is, because we're here too. We can't, there's nowhere else we can go. We can't just all in mass get up and go somewhere else. We can't just all, while it would be nice to go live in Africa somewhere, or anywhere else, we all just can't do that. We're here. This is our home. If you're a Black American descendant of slaves, your ancestors literally built this country. Our ancestors literally built this country. We're entitled to this country just as much as anybody else, just as much as any white person. Our people have been here longer than most of the white Americans people who came over, through Ellis Island. We've been here longer.
Exactly.
We're entitled to this all.
Talk about it, because they say, you hear people always saying, I came through Ellis Island. Well, I'm sorry, my people, we didn't get that opportunity to come through Ellis Island. My boat went somewhere else.
Exactly.
And we were in shackles.
Exactly. We're not immigrants. We built this. As a matter of fact, Benjamin Banneker, a Black man, literally laid the plans and the architecture and all that for DC, planned it out all.
Exactly.
So it's like we built this. This is ours. We don't got to go nowhere unless we want to. We're entitled to be safe and happy and live our lives peacefully and raise our children just like anybody else is. So it's like, while Wednesday at the Capitol necessarily wasn't our fight, because the government allowed that monster to keep doing what he was doing. They didn't impeach him. They allow all this stuff to go on. So yeah, that's their fight. But just in general, it is, because who wants to, like Chad was saying, this isn't the end. This isn't the end. It might not be. We might not end up with some huge. This isn't the end. This isn't the end of this. This is the last we see of these people.
So we have some new guests. Welcome, Ben and Joel. If you guys got background music or background noise, just lower it. But welcome, you guys. You want to talk your shit? Let's get into it. Let's get into the shit. What y'all got?
I feel like obviously some BS going on. I never thought I would like people just storming a place and then they get out of there alive. Like, I thought that was like one of the most secure places like on the planet. Like, and they just had some people walk in there. You know. What was that?
Let's get into it. Let's get into the shit.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying listening to everybody speak.
I never thought I would like people just storming a place and then they get out of there alive.
Oh wait,
like,
somebody has
like
on
the planet.
Hold on, is that you, Joel? I think that's you, Joel. Joel, you gotta cut it down. I just muted your mic. You gotta cut it down. Yeah. Got feedback going on, so turn your speaker down, and then I'll unmute your mic, and then you can speak again.
Okay.
I'm enjoying.
Okay. All right, Joel, when you're ready, give a thumbs up. Go ahead, Ben.
No, I was just saying, like, I just thought that was crazy that, I actually saw that happen and nothing happened and they walked out.
Is it okay?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I cut it down. Let me see. How's that?
You're good. You're good. I still hear myself. But go ahead. Go ahead, Ben.
No, that was it. It was just crazy
man.
to see. I'm just here to hear, like, if there was any other perspectives on what they saw, honestly.
All right, so what you got, Joel? What you got for us?
Well, I hear other people talking. I just want to, I like where the conversation was going, and then when you start talking about white privilege, and the thing about well, the thing about what the white privilege, that's something, huh?
hold on, Joel, you can't focus because of the delay. You are going to have to turn whatever that is in the background. If you have another device, turn the speaker off. Now I'm gonna talk my shit.
Okay.
I'm gonna jump on you, Joel.
Me.
All right. I love it. Listen, I love technical difficulties too. I'm going to drink until it's funny. All right, so back to our regularly scheduled program.
Kyle is hilarious, yo. But, you know,
it was the face for me.
Joe, when you're ready, give another thumbs up. So yeah, there's just a whole lot. I think to Jennifer's point, it's just been a lot. Jennifer and Sean, you know, we need to go back to our own. I understand we have challenges in our own community sometimes, but we have to find a way to stick together. This right here, to Chaz's point earlier, a civil war is coming.
It is.
And I'm not
here. It's already here.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but the shit is knocking at our door.
Yeah, this is definitely the beginning of the end, I feel. Like in terms of American democracy, like this is very dangerous. So
just be ready.
People have been waiting. Ever since that Purge movie came out, I swear it's like these people have just been waiting. Oh, we going, you know, it's just it's so sickening. It's really sickening. It's like people are dying of COVID. We had a second strain.
Oh shoot! Let me see.
Joel, you're off mute.
Knocking at our door. Yeah, this is definitely the beginning of the end.
You there, Joel?
In terms of American democracy.
All right, Joel, you may have to come back. Joel may have to come back.
I think if Joel,
I think he's probably having some difficulty with his phone.
And yeah, you have Facebook and this up.
Yeah, he has the.
God dang! Hold on. No.
He can only have the one thing up. Yeah.
You have the
you have
thing
two browsers.
He probably has to log out of Facebook.
This way, bro.
So
I'm not logged in.
Oh, do you have your Facebook up? See, it's a delay.
Yeah, I can hear Jennifer.
Okay, Joel's gonna have to come back. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be that guy. But Joel, I'm sorry, I do not mean to be that guy. But Joel will have to come back. Joel, when you come back, because he's probably still looking, you just have to turn the Facebook off because there is a delay. All right. Thanks, brother. I appreciate your input, though. So back to where we're at. Okay, so let's get back to let's look at the next footage. So back to Black people, okay, and why it was so important for the news media. I don't know if you guys have been following the media, but it seems like every news outlet I've been watching has been making it abundantly clear that if this was Black Lives Matter, if these were Black people, they would have been shot in the face. They would have been this. They would have been that. It's like everyone acknowledges the disparity between how Black people are treated.
Right.
Well, the good thing about that, I saw that from CNN several times. I'm actually glad it's happening because it helps others, non-Blacks, realize like you actually have to think like, would that happen? Would that have happened if they were Black?
I'm just glad, like outside of the U.S., it was seen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like outside, internationally, this was seen, and it's funny because I feel like the way America works is what I hear from like other people from other nations and stuff like that is like they blame a lot of the ills that America has on Black people. Like bottom line.
I'm not happy. I'm not happy it was seen because I feel like when it comes to protecting our democracy, that is one of the things that we need to always make sure that we keep in place. Like we can't look weak, you know, because
exactly.
you know if shit starts looking sweet, Like they just stormed our Capitol, and if they let's say they would have blew up the building. This is not a Netflix show. This is not Survivor.
Right.
Okay, if they would have blew up that building with all the Congress people in there, that's our whole democracy.
Yeah, Pence.
Yeah, where would we be?
Pence, actually. I don't know if any of y'all read that. I was just reading the article today. There were a lot of them. They were after Pence. They were trying to get to him because they were upset that he wasn't riding with Trump to the end, and he was going to do his job. You know, as far as the vote count and everything he was supposed to do, they were upset with him, and there were a lot of them who were after him. They kept trying to get what he was.
They said they wanted to hang him on that noose that was outside of the Capitol.
Exactly. This was a traitor. Yeah, I mean, like.
Right, but I think that's democracy, right? Like it's always fragile. It's always on a fine line, right? So I think once people realize, like, oh, you know, your property is at stake, your wealth is at stake. If this system goes up, I think it does shake everybody a little bit, where it's just kind of like, okay, well, I understand that you may have issues and everything, and you may not agree with somebody politically, you still have to kind of respect them. And I think once everybody's foundation is shaken, it kind of like, you know, course corrects a little bit. I still think like after this, there does need to be a real close microscope on like what is actually happening, because I think a lot of people in this country don't take it seriously, even though in our community we do, you know?
See, I look at it as though, to me, it's like a relationship. You and your significant other could be in the house arguing like shit, but then when y'all get outside, it's like, oh yeah, we're good. You know, everything's good. Y'all at the market, y'all at the store. You know, y'all going to a dinner party. You know, you want to put on the thing like, you know, we don't have beef, but you know, when we get back in the house, it could be on and popping again. And it's one of those things too. It's like we need to keep our shit in house.
Right.
Yeah, we have issues internally, but that's just not the stuff we want to show to the rest of the world. We will have a bigger issue if all the people start attacking us. Because like Jennifer said earlier, we have a thing where we want to take over the world. We just insert our dominance.
Right.
You know, we just kind of pillage over shit. We insert ourselves in business that ain't got nothing to do with us.
Right.
You know, we want to be Captain Save-A-Ho to all the nations.
Right.
No, we definitely do. And I just feel like you can't go around telling everybody else what to do if your house is fucked up. Like I totally get that. Like I totally get that. However, it's kind of like that was part of America's power, was the fact that, hey, even though we may have our issues, we may have our differences, we can do stuff peacefully. I mean, if you really want to look at it, every time we have an election, every 2 years, regardless of if it's the House or the Senate, or if it's the presidency, it's every 2 years we have an election on something. Mm-hmm. Technically, that's war. We have elections just so we don't go to war. And even if we had an election that everybody knows, like, yo, everybody voted him out, to have an insurrection like that, it definitely needs to be taken a little bit like seriously. But I think the world needs to see that, hey, even America can falter. Like that's how fragile it is. Right. You know, that's the way I look at it.
I feel like we are a third world country at this point, because this is shit I hear about, like, you know, kingdoms being overthrown, or, you know, or like other nations having to step in to help them set up their election process because they've never had one.
Right.
You know, it's like,
or to make sure it goes smoothly, bringing in UN,
right,
keeping troops and things of that nature. Yeah, who would have thought in America we'd have to really deal with something like this? That's why I say, like, I know, you know, America has not been good to Black people since we were kidnapped and brought over here. America has not been good to us, but I still say, God bless America. Why? Because I'm here. My family is here. My children are going to be here. You know, like, why would I want anything to happen to this place? Because I am here. This is where we have to live and build our lives. That's why I don't understand these folks from Wednesday, these MAGAs, Trumplicans, whatever we're calling them. Like, why would you think this is a good idea? Like, why would you think that was a good thing to do? So, you know, first of all, it's just wrong to do in general, but you're making us look so weak to the rest of the world who already sees us as weak for even voting this fool in to begin with. When I was in London, like, that's what people were asking me. I had a whole conversation with a couple in the back of a car going to the airport. They were from Australia. The wife was from Singapore, and they were like, well, why did y'all vote for him? And I had to stop them, like, well, no, not all of us, and I explained about our electoral, the electoral college and things like that. But like, we already look weak to the rest of the world. And I don't know if you guys read this too. There were a lot of Russians in that crowd. Like, they said there were definitely Russians in that crowd, and which I don't think that is false at all. I'm pretty sure there were Russian spies in there. We already know they said there were police officers from all over the country in with them. There were members of the military in with them. So this thing runs really deep. It runs really deep, and it's I'm not afraid, but it's scary to think about where we're going to go from here because of all this whole tangled web that's all wrapped up in it.
But this is what the world sees. This is what they see.
Exactly.
Funky ass dude in that chair, man.
Well, he was arrested today, but he'll be charged in Arkansas, unfortunately, not in DC.
Well, my thing is, this is what they think we would do, but it's like, these are the niggers. Like seriously, like, these are the niggers of America. Like, that's the irony of the whole thing.
Right.
Like, that's the crazy thing about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's just kind of crazy. Like, this is what they knew Obama was going to do. This is what they knew he was going to do. And then they end up doing it. That's the crazy thing about it.
Yeah, they just thought that because he got in, black people were going to go so wild, and we were just going to be, ravage, and black men were going to be out there ravaging all the white women because we got a black president, and and everybody was going to be going crazy, and they're gonna, be having cookouts on the White House lawn and playing spades. Like, but meanwhile, president serving McDonald's to the, I don't forget if it was basketball or college football, whoever, and he's serving them McDonald's. Like, talk about ghetto. Like,
like he is like, he is ghetto. Like, he's a billionaire and he's still ghetto. Like that. I mean, that's kind of poetic to me. It's just kind of like, I think as history looks back, it'd be like, dog, not only did he like do ghetto shit, but he went bankrupt. Like, I don't know a nigga that went bankrupt. You know a nigga that went bankrupt? Like, they keep that shit on the low. Like,
And he has a bounty on his head. Nobody had a bounty on President Obama's head. He had a whole bounty on his head.
Right.
This shit would have never happened under Obama. I can't even fathom.
Never.
Yeah.
Strippers. He had sex with the porn star. Remember that?
Right. And try to have
130,000. Don't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
He got all them baby mamas.
Yep, I've seen the porn stars work too. Not saying how I seen it, but I seen it. Okay, that's how I know.
She's nasty. I'll say it.
Is it good?
She's
good?
nasty.
Is it good?
Huh?
Yes.
Is it good?
Listen.
It's good. If I'm saying it's nasty, I'm like, fam, like, it just
stormy waters.
It's what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's good, but it's
he said I'm in on the next one. Listen, I don't too often, but listen, I just feel like, and it seems like I get y'all together. Sometimes I ask y'all, I'll be like, listen, y'all want to get together and chat? This is therapeutic for me. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I just need to just like get it out. And I just feel like I've suffered from that a lot of years, like just because there's a lot of things I want to say that I don't say because I'm just like, I don't want to hurt people's feelings. I think I'm very direct, but I'm just always critical about how it comes off and how I'm saying it. And I'm just like, you know what? As I get older, it's like I just need to get it out.
Right.
I just need to get it out. I'm just sick of this shit. I'm just sick of this dumb shit with everybody, these Trumpers, and just done with all this. I just want to get a get, and I just want to just start busting my get with anybody that's talking shit. Period.
You may want to just
you said what?
You may want to announce that real quick, just in case someone listening.
Busting cats. What year is this?
Right.
Yeah, I don't want you going to jail, friend.
Oh, you 90s rapper, you.
I'm fine. You know what? Bring them to the house. Come in the house. I want you to come in the house. That's what's going to save me.
Come in my house because you ain't getting out. Not allowed.
Okay, listen, you know what? Come on the door. I just want to. You know what? And I'm gonna drag your ass in.
Come to the door. Come to the door. All you gotta do
Right.
is do one of those.
Right. I'm gonna drag your ass in. I wonder how often does that happen. You come to my door.
First of all, they're not going to do that. They're not coming into any inner city, any Black Americans. They're not going to do that. They're not that.
But can we talk about if it was a civil war though, like what that would look like? Like,
well, you better get to your closest inner city.
I think that will put
all our people that's living out there between Pittsburgh and Philadelphia.
Right? Yeah.
You better get to Pittsburgh or Philly quick.
Right.
Listen, you got them folks that's in Atlanta, you know, on them outskirts in Georgia.
They have to be careful too. All them,
you know,
Atlanta.
you might catch it coming out of the Piggly Wiggly, whatever the fuck that is.
Or you can go to the Cracker Barrel. You know, the Cracker Barrel.
Oh yes, the Cracker Barrel.
No diss to anybody in the South. Listen, I get it. It's just the audacity that these folks travel from all across the world just to do some hood ass shit. Like, this is some crime mob shit. Really? This was some Nuck If You Buck shit.
Also, it was.
This was some Third Reich Nazi stuff. There were a lot of Nazis. There were a lot of neo-Nazis in that crowd too. They were saying, I don't know if you guys saw, like, all the guys wearing the shirts, the Auschwitz camp counselor shirt.
That was crazy.
And 6 million wasn't enough. Yeah. And, you know, all that other stuff. Yeah. So it's like, I mean, that's why when people try to say, oh, race, and, you know, I know being Jewish isn't a race, but, you know, when people try to say that, you know, race and things like that have nothing to do with what happened, they absolutely do. You saw the man with the Confederate flag, the enemy combatant flag, like, you know, like that flag should have been banned in the United States of America after the Civil War. The same way the Germans banned the Nazi flag. Like, you can't do any Nazi shit in Germany unless you want to go to prison. Like, the same way they banned the Nazi flag and all that other stuff, they should have banned the Confederate flag from the United States of America. And the fact that that man brought it in like that, I mean, that's so symbolic. That picture is extremely symbolic of what we were witnessing on Wednesday.
Because it's supposed to stoke fear. It's supposed to stoke fear.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they do. They want to stoke fear. And, you know, it's about dominance.
Right.
It's about dominance. And then this shit here, too. You know, how do they erect a noose like this in front of people?
And nobody stopped them. And that's the thing. That's why I absolutely believe when, you know, I was reading an article in the Insider the other day. They were interviewing experts from, I think, like France, like security experts, things like that. And they all, I forget where the other ones are from, but they were all saying, like, you know, this absolutely was an inside job. And that, you know, if they had succeeded, even though, you know, as we saw, they didn't. And you know, but if, well, for whatever reason they had succeeded and stuff really popped off, the one security expert, a French security expert, was saying, like, you know, America would have been under so many sanctions, because, you know, that's what they use these sanctions for, towards these countries that have dictatorships and things like that. Like and he was just talking about how it really would have impacted our economy in a horrible way. It would have impacted the world economy somehow, but definitely America would not have been in a great place.
Right.
This had worked somehow. And these people are too dumb to see the implications of their actions. Like, it's like this is a group of, that's why I say most MAGAs are their own cousins, because these people they're just idiots. They're idiots.
But I really want to know, like, what are they saying around the kitchen table? Like, I mean, we're sitting around a virtual table right now. Like, what is the echo chamber? Like, I just felt like I saw a lot of, for lack of a better word, dumb people.
Exactly.
At the Capitol.
Exactly.
It actually was kind of sad to me. It was just like,
right.
It was kind of like, wow, like y'all just ran with it.
They don't think
I'm gonna take a pause for the calls for some content. Hold that thought. I want to play a video or two, and I'll be right back. So stand by, and then I want to show you guys what it looks like when folks ran
These people were so unafraid of the cops, who were sparsely distributed through our capital, which hasn't been breached since 1812, when it was burned. The reason they could easily and casually, with their cameras on, film themselves throwing things through the walls of our Capitol, our property, going inside the Capitol, sitting in Speaker Pelosi's office, casually take pictures of themselves, have that played on Fox News, they know that they are not in jeopardy. Because the cops are taking selfies with them, walking them down the steps to make sure they're not hurt, taking care with their bodies, not like they treated Freddie Gray's body. White Americans aren't afraid of the cops. White Americans are never afraid of the cops, even when they're committing insurrection, even when they're engaged in attempting to occupy our capital to steal the votes of people who look like me. Because in their minds, they own this country, they own that capital, they own the cops work for them, and people like me have no damn right to try to elect a president. Because we don't get to pick the president. They get to pick the president. They own the president. They own the White House. They own this country. And so when you think you own it, you own the place, you ain't afraid of the police because the police are you. And the police reflect back to them. We're with you. You're good. We're not going to hurt you because you're not them. Guarantee you if that was a Black Lives Matter protest in D.C., there would already be people shackled, arrested, or dead.
Wow. That's crazy. She had a point, though.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely had a point.
She definitely
shackled, arrested, or dead.
I was talking to my mom. I said, yo, if that was Black Lives Matter or like people walking in there, America would have dropped a whole nuke on the Capitol. A whole nuclear bomb would have went. I would not be sitting here in the DC area right now talking to you if that was us doing that. Like they would have nuked the whole thing.
They probably would have tried to make us slaves again. See,
yeah, like they'd be like, see,
they're animals. We got to put them on the farm.
Yeah, go those niggas again.
Let me tell you something.
Is that the Jose Cuervo gin?
It is, because these all this MAGA talk, I just, my nerves is bad. I said I wasn't gonna. I made a post and said I wasn't gonna talk about these people no more. I wasn't gonna, but but I had to get in this conversation, and I need.
Yes,
I need some this is the first time I've opened this since I had it since September.
Oh wow!
Well, cheers, girl.
Watching.
I'll drink to that. Listen, let's get into something. Joel, you back? You with us, Joel? Mic check.
I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
Hey,
all right,
Joel.
Joel. You want to talk this
how
shit?
are you?
I'm good. I'm just glad to be back and talking with you guys here. I'm enjoying the conversation. One thing I talk with some of the brothers at my job, and the one thing we have to understand is that black people, our votes do count. And what they're really pissed off is the fact that we organized and got out there and voted. Whereas back in 2016, when Trump first one, we were pissed off because he won. That's because a lot of our black asses didn't get out there and vote. This time around, we flipped the script on everybody. We got out there, we voted, and now they're mad because we exercised our vote. We had, once we took over Georgia, that really poured more salt into their wound because we had the presidency. Now we got this, so they're not mad about other bullshit about a lot of political crap. That's just a bunch of lies they're saying. What they're mad about that we voted and they can't take it.
On that note, can we give a shout out to Stacey Abrams in Georgia? She did a marvelous job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like she organized, she gathered, and she got those people out there. And look what happened in Georgia. They are blue. Blue.
Listen, right? I love
She's
the
getting
people.
She's getting it.
I'm glad that Georgia, the brothers and sisters down there, I'm glad they all came together, and I'm glad they got us this victory because it's not just for them, it's for everybody of color, not just black people. But I put a lot of emphasis on black people because there's a lot of shit that's been going on, and whenever I see those MAGA flags and banners and stuff like that, and I see the the white people, they see me see this shit, but they don't say nothing because they don't want to get stupid with me. Let me just put it like that, because I ain't gonna play with you. I'm just gonna whoop your ass right off the bat. I'm just gonna tell you right there. That's what's gonna happen. So they understand that. But when they see me and I see those MAGA flags and all that stuff, and they look down, that tells me that they're more ashamed of what's going on before that bullshit, that they're flying around, because those flags don't mean nothing, and when I see them with the Trump flag and the American flag and that damn rebel flag, I'm like, well, first of all, motherfuckers, the rebel flag, you lost. You lost the goddamn war, period. I mean, and a lot of them are stupid enough to where they don't understand that shit. And, when a lot of them pull down that American flag when Trump lost, I'm like, okay, you're not no damn patriot. You're a citizen, but you're not a patriot because, if you stood for that damn flag, no matter who won the election, you should have kept that damn flag up because that symbolizes, it's supposed to symbolize you. And when they take down that damn flag, that tells me everything I need to know about your ass. And that's, that's what bothers me,
Yeah, you make a good point. That flag represents all of us. And so I think that what this election has turned into is, idolizing him. It's almost like he's turned into he's like sort of, I don't want to call him a god, but he's like,
no, they deified him.
Yeah.
Like he's just,
he's a clown.
There's still no proof that his little youngest son isn't the Antichrist. I mean, there's still no proof. I don't have that little Damien the Omen. We never seen when we did see him at the inauguration. He was fighting his mother, hitting his mother, and all the other stuff. So we don't know that little boy ain't the Antichrist, and that's why all this is going on.
True.
Also, his wife doesn't even like him. She doesn't even touch him. She doesn't even hold his hand.
But you talking about little
Baron?
I mean, his mom is Melania, so I think she's worth
the choice of names. Why name him Baron? Anyway,
because
that's
it sounds
like
$1 million.
Exactly. It's all about money.
So I have a two-part question. With all this that's going on, I mean, it's just been a lot in the past. I want to say year, but it's really been going on for quite a few years. I don't even know where to begin. With Philando Castile, Alton Sterling, Tamir Rice. It's just been a lot. Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor. It's been a whole lot. Trayvon. The list can go on and on and on and on. So for me, I was sitting here on Wednesday thinking not first I was triggered with that Confederate flag because I was like, these are scare tactics. They are doing this to stoke fear. And then so that prompted me to think what does trauma look like? So as a Black man, what does trauma look like? And I pose that to you, and then I'm also going to that to you, Jen, as a Black woman, what does trauma for you look like? So we can just kind of go around the panel and you guys let me know, like, as a Black man in America, what does trauma look like? What does it feel like? What are some challenges? You can just talk about challenges. You could talk about things that you don't want to encounter, things you have encountered, whatever comes to mind. It's organic.
All right.
You want me to go? Oh.
Jen, go ahead.
Yeah, ladies first.
I was so busy chewing. I heard you, but I didn't hear you because of chewing. But okay, so I'll tell you guys the story super quick. So last summer, it was summer 2019, on my way to work, and I'm coming down, like, I guess you call it the Parkway or whatever, and I'm trying to. Normally, my drives to work are very uneventful. And I was in the left lane, but I needed to get into the right lane to hit the exit. And so I look through my mirror and I see there's so much distance between me and this big white SUV behind mine, because I got an SUV too. So I get ready. I put on my turn signal because I don't play. I use my turn signal all the time. I don't want the police to have any reason to say anything to me. I follow all traffic laws. So I put on my turn signal. I'm getting ready to get over, and the car just just speeds up, like, and I'm like, so when he gets, like, we're next to each other, and I kind of look like, I'm like, really? I didn't F you and didn't none of that. Just like, really? So I'm pretty sure he could see me. I'm pretty sure he probably saw me back. We were some ways back on the Parkway. Pretty sure he probably saw me, but my hair is down and straight now. But normally I wear it up in my big curly poof. So I know he could see my poof over my seat. So I'm pretty sure he knew I was a Black woman in that car. So we're next to each other, and I'm like, really, dude? And so we get up a little further, and next thing I know, he's right next to me again, and he rolls on his window, and he's doing the like this, that little, that white pride thing that they do, that little symbol of theirs. He's driving now. He has one hand on the steering wheel, on the other hand, he's doing the Nazi salute at me, nigger, all this other stuff. In my mind, I was hoping that he crashed, like he hit the back of somebody else's car. Like, I was just so shocked. So of course, I mean, I'm a lady. I don't like cussing. I don't like doing all that stuff. But that just angered me in that moment. I was angry. So I start, and do right back to him. Like, I couldn't believe that. Like, all because you did some ignorant stuff in traffic. You could have let me over. I had room to get over, and you zoomed up on purpose to keep me from getting over. And all I did to you was like one of these, like, dude, like, really? And I had to be niggers and bitches, and you're throwing up the Hitler sign, the Nazi salute at me, and doing all this other stuff. So in that instant, I was very angry. I was so angry. I wanted to follow him to see where he goes. I wanted to try to get his license plate number, but I just kept on my way to work. So by the time I got to work, it hit me. And I wasn't angry anymore. I was actually, because that has never happened to me in my life. I'm 38 years old. I was 36 when that happened. That had never happened to me before in my life. I had a girl call me a nigger before, but she didn't do it to my face. She knew better to do it through text to someone else. She didn't say it to me. But I've never had anything like that happen in my life. So the fact that happened in my city where, I know Pittsburgh got a lot of stuff with it, but I've always felt a little safer here, a little bit more comfortable here than other places. So the fact that happened to me, I was by myself, and this man, he was up beside my car. I do have a weapon, but I don't carry it on me. I wasn't carrying it on me. And he could have done anything. He could have shot at me. He could have tried to run me off the parkway. He could have done anything. And it just, once I got to work, it just hit me. And I don't like crying in front of other people, especially not at work. But I had to go in my office, and I had to cry because the reality just hit in. Like, in that moment, I'm a woman, I'm by myself, I'm unprotected. And this man just really just disrespected the shit out of me as a human being, as a woman, as a Black person. He just disrespected me for absolutely no reason. He clearly wanted to do it on purpose because of the way he aggressively prevented me from merging into his lane. He wanted to start something. and it just hit me like the feeling of being alone in that moment was very traumatizing. The feeling of being disrespected by a grown man, and this wasn't like somebody who's like, you know, in our age, you know, like in their 30s probably. I don't know how old everybody is, but you know, it wasn't like it was a young person. This man had to be like in his 50s, maybe early 60s.
Wow.
And it was just like the audacity of it. And I just felt so alone, and I felt completely unprotected because, you know, as a Black woman, since we came over here, you know, I already know that Black men, y'all go through stuff and y'all have been going through stuff. So I'm not, anything I'm saying when I say Black women, I'm not mitigating what my brothers go through, because I know y'all go through stuff too. But it's a little different when you're a woman because, you know, I don't want to say the weaker sex, but, you know, we're women. And, you know, men are physically stronger than us. You know, you can dominate us very easily. And just the fact that Black women, since we came over here, we have not been thought of as women. Our womanhood, our femininity, our humanity has not been respected or protected since we've been over here. We've been used, we've been raped, we've been beat, we've been used as breeding machines to breed out more slaves, more slave labor. And even after slavery, you know, we still just had to take so much abuse. And unfortunately, a lot of times we also have to take abuse from within our own communities just because of the trauma, the collective group trauma that we all experienced from slavery. I'm not saying it's right, but you know, we've had to go through this, and a lot of times, you know, we're just left unprotected. Even some of our own Black men don't see us as women the way they look at a white woman and beautiful white queen, my snow bunny, and all this other stuff. But you look at us, you know that's what
I totally agree. I feel like if any demographic of person in the U.S. can be mad at America, it's the Black woman.
Exactly. We are the.
I really feel like that. Like,
we're the most unprotected women on the planet.
No,
we're
I agree. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. It was the snow bunny. It was the snow bunny.
You know, that's what some of y'all be saying. Oh, my snow bunny. I mean, and if you like white women, do what you do. I have nothing to do with that. But it's like, you know, we are.
Nah, niggas just turn into OJ when they get their white girl, you know.
Yeah, we're just like
niggas do turn into OJ. Be like, I'm not Black, I'm OJ. Like, nah, nigga. Like,
we express our femininity. It's seen as something bad. We're not allowed to be feminine. We're not expected to be feminine. We are expected and taught to be masculine. And so we're left unprotected because it's like, oh well, I don't gotta protect you. I've even seen like the video of the sister in Los Angeles getting jumped by all those MAGAs, and even plenty of other videos. It's always, oh well, what did she do? And that's even from some Black people. Oh, she's probably getting smart. You know, y'all got smart mouth. She was probably not. Oh, if I would have been there, I wouldn't have let that happen, and I wouldn't have. You know, so I feel unprotected. You know, I don't have a husband. You know, I don't have a brother. You know, my brother Richard, who was a Gulf War veteran, you know, he was killed when I was 11 years old. You know, so it's like it's sad, and I feel like if I was out somewhere at a gas station, at the grocery store, and I had some MAGAs trying to attack me, trying to call me niggers, trying to do something to me, I feel like there's no one I could turn around to help me. Now, and more than likely, maybe there probably would be. There'd probably be somebody to step in and say, no, don't do that. But probably not. Probably not. There would probably be some Black Black man standing there just watching, like, what did you do?
You know, I see that quite often. I mean, and I'm not going to give my story. I'll let someone else share theirs. But I see that often where we're in this culture now where it's just, rather than the thought of like, well, let me help, it's just like, well, let me grab my phone and record it.
Right.
You know, or let me, you know, it's like, what? It's like, well, help her. You know, she could be. It's not even a thing of, you know, oh, well, I'm going to let the women handle it. If there are 4 women beating you up, I'm jumping in. You're going to get off of her.
Exactly.
Like, get off of her.
Like that situation with the girl in Los Angeles, the sister in Los Angeles, when all those MAGAs were jumping her on Wednesday. And in one of the pictures, you see the Black guy was with them. Clearly, he was a MAGA too. And he just said they disrespected her. They snatched her wig off. You know, and they knew what they were doing. They snatched her wig off. They just disrespected this black woman. And that black man, you could see him in the picture. He's just standing there looking. Like, really?
Yeah, he
Like,
was
really?
Yeah, that's
I'd have whipped his ass first.
He should have got stomped out too. ASAP.
Everybody else was on code. Everybody else was on code. You're not going to see a whole bunch of black people jumping a white woman and white people just walking past like nothing's going on. Oh, I can't get involved. I don't want to get arrested. I don't want to get. You're never going to see that. Not in America. You're never going to see that. But you can see black women. Our bodies, our everything. You can just see black women being disrespected, being hurt. All that is. I don't want to get involved. I'm not. Gonna say, well, what did she do? She got a smart mouth. What did she do? You know. And I'm not even. Let me rephrase some things. I don't want to make it seem like I'm talking about as far as the black men and trying to blame y'all or anything like that. But I just wish that we as a people could be more on code with protecting each other, helping each other, being able to support each other. I can't worry about that. I can't. That's not my sister. That's not my mother. That's not my woman. I can't worry about that.
No,
I think it's real deep, right? I think even from when we were kids, we're always inundated with the soft. How do I want to put this? The soft, hard lines of society. You're always given the beautiful white woman, the handsome white man on your TV screens, like from an early age. And then when you see like a villain, they have very ethnic features. Like it's subtle stuff like that, where it's just kind of like, yo, you see the other, and you're sitting there watching that, not looking at a mirror. You're watching TV, but you don't realize like, yo, that's you. That's the analog for you.
Right.
That's why representation matters. That's why representation matters.
Right. I don't remember growing up like in teen movies and stuff like that and seeing the beautiful black girl that even the white boys was like, yo. Only thing I remember is Brandy, and that's
Well, we did have. Well, another thing with that, a lot of times when you did see an African American woman that was beautiful, she was always one of fair skin. That was big.
Right.
That was always an issue. Like I think back from my era, we had like Whitley Gilbert from who was that?
Different World.
Different World, exactly. Yeah. And,
right. She was fair skin.
She was gorgeous, or she is gorgeous. But most people or Tashina Arnold, they were very fair skinned women. You never saw a darker skinned beautiful black woman. You did not see that on television.
They had Diane Carroll out here playing all the roles.
Right, exactly.
Right, because that's two things I want to say. One thing is that how look at Fresh Prince went from being dark skinned beautiful. I thought the first Aunt Viv was the best Aunt Viv.
Right.
To go into a lighter skinned Aunt Viv who was a bit more submissive on the show. If you
right, yes,
right?
Yes.
Also, number two, Jen, I want to tell you that I feel like everything you said, all your feelings are valid. You said a point about you didn't want to mention about how not all black men, but I do feel like as a collective, we need to be a bit better with how we handle things, especially when it comes down to protecting our women. Look at social media. Look at how we talk to each other. You go on Clubhouse, it's disrespect city.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's like room 5,000. It's your thought. How can you tell? And it's like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? How can we expect other people to respect our women if we don't do it ourselves?
Exactly.
That's because one is two things. One, we need to see them as human beings instead of objectifying them.
Right. Right. I agree. And black women, some black women, because this is all, some on both sides. Some black women play a role in this. Like some of us willingly take part in objectifying ourselves. Like all that, you know.
It's on the spectrum because I don't see it as objectification with women because they have a right to express themselves.
Right.
I think it's different with a man because I'd rather it's a difference between admiration and using you as a prop.
Right. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like, there's a difference between you putting money in your hand and throwing money at you like you on a pole.
Right. Right. And that's
So
true.
there's a big difference there. So I mean, I look at it as though I don't really see objectification so much with women itself because they have a right to express themselves. So never let someone say, "Oh, well, that's just a little too much cleavage." Okay, but you don't get to tell a woman what to do with her body. If that's how she wants to express herself, let that be that. Now I have my own opinion. I'm like, girl, we in church. You might want to cover them big old bitties up now.
Right. No, yeah, I agree with you. I'm not too big on on respectability politics and things like that, but I do think a lot of us need to think smarter. And need to think smarter. We can't do everything that other people can do, and that's the problem with a lot of Black people in general. We think we can do the things that other people do and get away with. When we do stuff, it's, oh, that's ratchet, that's ghetto, that you're a slut, you're a thought, you're this, you're that. When other people do it, oh, well, like twerking, you're nasty, you're twerking, you're a thought, you're this, you're that. But when a white woman does it and makes exercise classes about it, and now she's on the Today Show working, talking about her $50 twerk classes, and it's revolutionary, and all the soccer moms are doing it. So it's like,
right.
Realize we can't be out here doing everything everybody else is doing. Why would we want to? Why would we want to? And I think that's one of the problems that happened with integration. Black people picked up a lot of bad habits that we did not have before we integrated, things that weren't a part of our culture until integration.
Because what do you think it is? Because we didn't understand the definition of what beauty was.
It's just, I've heard this from my mom and I heard from other people. A lot of Black people always think that the white man's ice is colder, and we got to get out of that mindset. Our ice is the original ice. Why are you going to think somebody else's colder? Why think somebody else's grass is greener? Water your own, nurture your own.
Yes.
That's not. I mean.
Well, that was interesting. Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
You're gonna have me around here with that dashiki on, like Sean talking about. Yes, Queen. Is there anything I could do for you, Queen?
Power to the people.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. I can use a new purse.
I'm like, you know what? I was just on my way to Kohl's.
Wait, Jen, I was with you until you came up with the new purse.
You need some from TJ Maxx first? Okay, I got you.
Oh, they sell those at Walmart too.
Oh Lord.
Go to wish.com.
Oh God.
Oh my God.
I'll get it next December. I'll get my purse next year.
Now you want to be like Super Sam with that makeup. Okay. Allegedly. All right, so who's next? We were talking about trauma and what trauma looks like, what it feels like. You got a story, you got a experience.
I got a story for you.
Okay.
All right, let's go back 2013. I moved down to New Orleans to be with my girlfriend, right? Ex-girlfriend at the time. And she was going to law school. I was working at a restaurant, a hole in the wall, right?
You said New Orleans?
Yeah. I used to work at a hole in the wall. The boss was a bigot. Racist, sexist, you name it, right? One time, I'm there putting the order in, and he says, because his black friends at the counter, hey, where the pickaninnies, right? Meanwhile,
He said what? I didn't hear that part.
He said, where's the pickaninnies?
Oh.
I'm sitting there looking at his black friend. I'm like, are you going to say anything? His black friend's an older guy. His friend had like this look on his face, like upset. But he didn't say anything. I said, oh, okay. I see what time it is, right? So I think a few nights, like months down the line, I'm walking a friend home and walking back to a spot. And I'm walking back and I hear a car like slowly creeping behind me. Now, mind you, where I'm from, West Philly, if I hear the car creep behind me slow, I'm thinking it's a jack move. I'm about to get robbed, right? So I look behind me. It was a cop car. We made eye contact. She sped off. I said, all right. I get to the corner because in New Orleans, there's the streetcars. It's the only way you can get around. So I went to the corner. I missed the streetcar. The cop saw me, waited, did a mean U-turn, Boom, pull back up, put me on the corner, right? I'm like, meanwhile, I got a tank top on, nerd glasses, you know what I mean, like a satchel, shorts and sneakers. Nothing threatening, regular shit, right? It's a summer night. She calls me over, say, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm doing all right. She says, Missy your ID. I'm like, what's going on here? She asked me a question. Have you ever been arrested and before? I said, no, I haven't. She sees my ID. She says, you ever been arrested in PA? I said, no, I just told you I've never been arrested before, right? She runs my ID, right? Meanwhile, a second cop car pulls up. White guy gets out, looks at me, smiles, hey, how you doing? I'm like, I'm all right. I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. Meanwhile, I hear on the radio, I'm calling for 1-108, right? Because I'm going to tell you, I pulled you over for in a minute. She runs about my license, doesn't see anything because I don't do shit, right? And she says, okay, here's your license. Go back. I said, all right, I think you want to tell me what I got pulled over for, but she just let me go. I saw the streetcar going and dipped. I got on the phone, look up what the code actually meant. A 1-108 is a code for a suspicious looking person. So I filled a description, right? I lived in New Orleans for about 3 months. I came back home, I was like, yo, I enjoyed being down there, but that was my first taste of dealing with police like that. Because in Philly, I've never had issue with the cops, ever. Down there, I'm just walking with a book bag on to a streetcar. I get pulled over while walking, and I feel the description. Not being told anything or nothing, it's just checking to see if I've been busted or anything like that.
Walking like black.
Yeah. Also, I think trauma looks like to me is like I've had this problem as of late because of all this happened. Is like I work with a lot of white folks at university, right? And I'm always wondering, these folks don't ever talk to me in the morning. Other folks, how you doing? Right? How's it going on? Right? Other people, I'll say, how you doing? Right? Make eye contact. They make eye contact. They don't say anything. They look down, keep moving, and that's that. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy. Sometimes it's like I don't know if they don't want to talk to me because it's not part of the culture, or if they're just racist. I can never tell. So my trauma is I live in a world, I work in a place, I exist in a situation where I never know people's intentions. I never know people's intentions. And it's crazy. Like I have white friends, I have all kinds of friends, but I still just don't know how people view me. I can't. I feel like I can't trust people. You know what I'm saying? Like I just don't know. Because they'll smile on your face and be the same one calling the cops on you.
Yeah.
Like so a situation like that is like
it's not a problem until it is a problem.
Right.
Right. So what are we supposed to do with this situation? Dealing with this fear, dealing with this ignorance. Like I'm tired of being the one to be like, hey, I'm the cool black dude. Don't ever scared of me.
Yeah. It gets tiring. I mean, I know when I went to Japan last year, that as a black person, that's about the freest I've ever felt in my life. Just being in a whole different culture where it was just kind of like it just let me be, man. Like, you know, they were helpful. They were like, I literally was lost, you know, in terms of going to the grocery store and buying something, but I didn't feel like they were intimidated. They were like, oh, okay, clearly you're not from here. Let me help you. Right. You know, it was like when I walked into the store, it was just like, it just felt different. I was like, this wouldn't have happened at home. Like if I was African, like a legit African fresh off the boat, I really don't feel like they would just be up to just help me. And then know off that I wasn't from there. So when I came back, I was just like, when I got back here and just realized again that America has a different kind of racism. Like it's way different here. I mean, I've been around the world. I've lived in Italy. Yeah, there's a little racism there, but it's not like here.
Yeah.
Nothing like here. And then in America in general, Florida is even worse. I've lived in Florida, and it's just like it's just like full blitzkrieg racism down there.
Throw the whole state away. Sorry,
Yeah.
Floridians. Throw the whole state away.
Yeah. So I totally understand what you're saying, where it's kind of like you just don't know walking around in this whole nation how you're being viewed.
Yeah.
You're everything but a human being.
Yes.
I think for me,
Three to compromise.
I think for me, what trauma looks like would be like, for me, it's microaggressions. So like, I'll take college, for example. Going to a PWI, predominantly white institution for undergrad, that was an experience for me because honestly, I hadn't had that much interaction with white people, if I'm being honest. Growing up in Philadelphia, I didn't have any white friends. I didn't, so it wasn't like, it was culture shock, but it wasn't hard for me to adapt. So if that makes sense. So, it's the little subtle things like, you grow your hair out, I'm at work. Oh, can I touch your hair? Oh my God, it's so soft. Like it's those kind of things. Like, do you ask anyone else to touch their hair? Like, it's those kind of things that for me, it took, I don't know how to react, or I don't know how to navigate. I didn't know how to navigate for a while in that space because it's like, it's almost like I'm not acknowledging. It's like you're not knowing when you're being disrespected almost. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, because I feel like it's really ignorance. They don't know. And it's like, I don't want to be rude by saying, like, get the fuck off of me. Like, because some of the people I did know, and it's just like, I don't like being in this space. I just wish that, I just wish you already knew, like, not to ask me, or we're not cool enough for you to be able to walk up to me and want to do these things.
Right.
I just wish that there was a handbook already that just everybody knew, like, you don't ask anyone else to touch their hair. Why do you want to come up and ask to touch mine? Or be more comfortable because maybe this is the only experience you've had with Black people. And so it's those kinds of things like that. And then, being in college too, like my freshman year, I was like the only Black person on my floor in my dorm room. And I had, I felt like I had a racist roommate. I mean, that didn't last long. I felt like his parents were racist, at the time, and I'm dating myself. I went to school in year 2000, and I didn't have a cell phone at the time. I don't think I had a dorm room phone. And so, like anyone else growing up, when someone calls and answers the phone, you say hello, they say hello back. So I'm like, I brought the cordless phone up here. When I say hello, I'm expecting someone on the other line to say hello. I say hello.
Story.
I say hello. My roommate's mom says, "Put Daniel on the phone."
Oh.
This is a white woman. Now he had a twin brother. They were identical, and they were just like, they were from somewhere in Pennsylvania in the sticks. They lived on a farm, and it just a lot. He used to chew tobacco, spit in a can. It just was a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot of cultural differences I was just not used to, but it was not a problem for me because I was adaptable. So
raised to be.
She said, listen, put Daniel on the phone. So I said, again, hello. She said, yeah, you didn't hear me put Daniel on the phone. So I hung up. And so my roommate sits up. He said, dude, did you just hang up on my mom? And I said, you fucking right. I hung up on your mother. And I said, you know what? She better not call this room again until she learns how to say hello. This is my phone she called. And if you want to talk to her, then you find a payphone and you go talk to her down in the office. But this is where I draw the line.
Right.
And so from that moment on, it was like, it was like higher learning up in there. I mean, homeboy was mad. I mean, I ain't never seen nobody like acts of harm on themselves. I mean, he started punching walls. I've never seen this type of behavior. Like, you get so mad, you punching a concrete wall. He broke his hand and everything. And so it's that kind of stuff. And then I would come back from the cafe that wrote nigger on the door. Like, it's that kind of stuff. You know how you have your dry erase board on the front door? They had wrote that on the door. It was just like, when you talked about feeling unsafe, you know, Jen, you know, I felt unsafe, but I also felt like I'm not that unsafe. And I made it very clear to everybody on that floor. I was like, listen, this is not reality TV. I was like, we can line it up in this hallway if anybody has a problem, because I felt like now it's either flight or fight. And I was like, I'm not leaving. I'm not leaving. So I don't know what you're used to or what you think Black people are. But I was like, this is not what I anticipated coming to school for.
Right.
You know, that's the least, you know, when you going on tours, I'm like, this is a beautiful campus. I'm like, I never would have thought that. So for me, that was the first insight of what trauma felt like for me. It was the microaggressions, the can I touch your hair? Can I, you know, the passive aggressiveness. You know, you having a conversation with someone and it's like they're nitpicking with you, like, oh, well, you don't have to have an attitude about it. I don't have an attitude. I just told you you can't use my computer.
Right. Right.
You got a problem, go to the computer lab, but you can't use my shit. How you mad at me?
Entitlement.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Nobody tells them no. Like white boys will legit have temper tantrums.
Yep.
White men will have temper tantrums. Like that shit is crazy.
Yeah.
Like nobody want to talk about that, right?
Yeah. Look at their president.
It was an entire temper tantrum.
Yeah.
All right, I'll move on to someone else. Who wants to go next? Chaz, you want to go?
I mean, I've had a number of situations. I can remember back, I was about 10 years old. I was actually walking through the woods of my elementary school because there was a pathway that led to the main street. It was on the main street. It was on the side street, but to get to the main street, you can take a shortcut through the woods. And it didn't dawn on me until later on, but I had actually encountered a skinhead. And I knew it was a skinhead at the time, but you know, it's a skinhead. For me, I'm 10 years old. It didn't quite register as it would as if I was older. So we didn't say any words, but he just looked at me and he gave me this stare. And I remember I just looked, but I kept walking. And then a couple years later that, while I was in middle school, I realized at that point, like, yo, he could have killed me in those woods. He's a skinhead. I'm a little Black boy. You know, I mean, I was a target, you know, but he didn't do anything at that time. So I'm grateful for that. So that was my first encounter. My second encounter was I was in 8th grade in middle school. And at middle school, we had recess. We had 2 recesses. We had recess in the morning and we had recess at lunchtime. In the morning time, you can go play basketball, kickball, you know, whatever you wanted to do before classes started. So I was playing basketball with, I thought was a friend of mine. We had been friends since 6th grade, and we were playing basketball, and we were on the same team. One of our other teammates didn't catch the ball, so the ball went out of bounds. So they started arguing. He was always kind of a high head, but this is a white guy. He was always kind of a high head, but it didn't, you know, I'm used to it. So they got into an argument, and when I stepped in, he turned on me. And 2 things happened. He called me a nigger, and then he spit in my face. And so once that happened, we automatically started brawling. I mean, there's no other recourse, in my opinion. I mean, you could walk away, but I wasn't going to walk away. So we started brawling, and I mean, we got it in. I was suspended for 7 days, missed my whole 8th grade trip because I couldn't go on, and he did too. But it was at that moment I realized, like, yo, you see me as somebody less than you. Like, this is who you are. This is like, I thought we were cool, but apparently, you know, you're a two-faced person. So now, at that point is when I started looking at a lot of white people. Like, okay, well, you may be my friend, you may act cool towards me, but there's another side to you. And that proved true as I matriculated through high school and as I got to college. When I got to college, I'd be walking to choir rehearsal or something like that. There was a blue 2-door pickup that yelled out, nigger, and kept going. And this is in Indiana, PA, you know, IUP, predominantly white institution. So
it didn't startle me, but it was like, yeah, we're in the backwoods, kind of expect this. This is what's going to happen. I was accosted by the Indiana police. We had a post office that was on a street called 7th Avenue, which is right off of Philly, Jen and Kyle, I don't know. And they literally, they pulled over, they got out the car, and they told me to put my hands up. And I'm like, what's going on? And I put my hands up, and they started patting me down and searching me, and things like that. And they was like, we think we have the suspect. And he read the cop radioed in and said, we think we have the suspect. And the second cop asked for, just to confirm the description. The only thing that we had on the same was a gray sweatshirt. But they said the guy was like 5'10", about 200 pounds. I'm taller and I'm bigger. And the only thing we had on was a gray sweatshirt. So literally, once they confirmed the description, the cop realized that's not him, that's not him, that's not him. So we got to keep looking. So the other cop that actually accosted me had a complete attitude that that I wasn't the suspect that they were looking for. I did not get an apology. I did not get, any kind of anything. I ended up going to the police department to, make a report. I don't know what happened. Nothing came of it because, we're in Indiana, PA. But, those instances and those, situations, I've been called. I used to bounce. And at the club one night, there was a white girl. I wouldn't let her in the VIP, and she called me a nigger. And, she went and got her boyfriend, and like he was going to do anything. You're in the club. I'm a bouncer. The other bouncers are going to come, handle the situation with me. Just relax. But, I was called a nigger for not letting her in the VIP. For me, and I do have some white friends that I believe are sincerely and wholehearted and would never disrespect me in that manner. However, I believe a majority of white people that I do know, if put into a situation where they are not happy, they would turn. And so that's the mindset, unfortunately, that I do keep. That, yeah, you're my friend, we're cool, but let's see if we get into something and see what happens.
Yeah,
let's see what I become, what my new name might be.
First thing they're going to say.
Yeah.
I got a question for you though, real quick, Chaz. After that boy spinning your face, when were you released? When did you get out the bed?
I know this story.
Well,
ain't no way in hell.
The day in that principal's office, we ended up going to the principal's office. Had to call both of our parents. Immediately suspended. Again for 7 days. Took away the whole 8th grade trip. Couldn't do that. And by the time we got back to school, I definitely never spoke to him again. But I actually wanted to fight him a second time. I really wanted to fight him a second time, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just leave it. I ain't never gonna speak to this guy again. But yeah, that's something to be called a nigger and then he spit right in my face.
Right.
All right, Sean, what you got?
And I handled it immediately.
Yes.
What you got, Sean?
I have several stories, but when I was thinking of the question what trauma looked like to me, it's just for me to be able to control myself and my my temperament if I'm ever put in a situation like the one I've been in before. Because I have a family, I have loved ones. So I always try to think about those things before I react. Because one story, I was in school myself. I went to PWI as well, Knowlesville University, and I was walking from my apartment back to campus, and I was the VP of the NAACP. I was a member of I am a member of an MPHC, and this white boy called me a nigga, and I'm sitting there looking at him. And I said, "What you say?" He said, "You heard me, you fucking nigga." I said, "Oh shit." So my first instinct was to whoop his ass right in front of this apartment. But then I thought, if I did that, it would have been, the black man did this, the black man did that, he did this. And it was some scrawny little white boy. He was drunk, they were having a party, excuse. But I was just sitting there. His friends came out because I was this close to taking care of him. But at that moment, I decided that I wanted to do better for myself. But at a point, I get why do we have to continue to be like that? That is my problem. So
that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like
we have to continue.
Dog, like, why do we have to think about like how society is going to handle this? Like, that's the issue, right?
Exactly.
It's like, but they know that. Like, they know. I don't know what they talk about at the kitchen table, but it's just like, bro, you got it. Like, they ain't gonna take the L no matter what you do, bro. Like, you winning out here. We set this up for you. Like, I really feel like that's the conversation around the dinner table with white people.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I actually had to stop dating a chick. She was white, but I started looking at her differently when she was just like, but who are the cops gonna believe if I call them?
Yeah.
And I was just like,
oh shit.
Yeah, I was like, I'm good. I was like, so you just got a fetish with niggas, huh?
Yeah, she definitely anything that would happen, she would automatically turn and use.
Yeah,
use
she would have
her
turned
white
on the
power.
waterworks and everything, and I was like, okay, so I just, this is done. You know, so I totally understand.
Listen,
Sounds like college to me.
It's hard, it's hard to navigate this space because again, I started this conversation with, we don't. It's not everybody. It's not everybody. That's like Karen. Everybody, every white person, every white woman is not a Karen. A Karen is a specific type of white woman.
Right.
Okay. So we have to be clear about that. Like, everybody's not a Karen. That's like, I'll be telling my friends, I'm like, listen, everybody's not a Karen. Let's not do that. Because I feel like we do that. They do that with black people.
Exactly.
But can't a lot of white women turn into Karen though?
Say it again, Ben.
Can a lot of white women turn into Karen though? Like we just had that conversation. Like they can slip in that.
It's there. It's there.
It's a possibility. Possible. Anybody's capable of anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I get when we paint people with a broad stroke, it's like I don't know. I just feel it doesn't feel good, but then again, I just feel like in most cases, sometimes I'm not wrong, but I don't want to be right.
But it's like it's like the privilege thing. You have this privilege. Well, how are you going to use it? Are you going to use it for the betterment of everybody else, not just yourself? You're going to use it for good, or you're going to use your powers for bad. So, like everybody has the capability of anything. I could be a serial killer. Am I going to do that? No, but it's possible. I've watched enough Investigation Discovery to get away with a few things, but I'm not going to do it. So it's like, no, not every white woman is a Karen, but we're all capable of anything if put into certain situations. Like the girl who I told you guys called me a nigger, she called me a nigger because someone I was dating, he's a black man. And she was upset, that after they broke up, he started dating me. He came back and started dating a black woman. So that's why, she did all that nigger stuff. And it was like, I guess he probably didn't think that, that, just because, she hangs out with black people and, she likes black men or other stuff. Oh, no, she would never call anybody a nigger. But, clearly, yes, she didn't get her way.
They're the worst.
So, yeah.
They're the worst type. The fetish types. Ooh, yo, because that's how they all get down. Because look, in college, you have a lot of white girls who are going after my homies, cats that I knew were on basketball team, football team, right? After the athletes, they love their black asses, right? But once graduation came and some of those black athletes didn't get, drafted or go where they were going, the same white girls went back to Whiteville, married their white dudes, and acted as if their little moment in college never happened. Never happened.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Joel, Joel, you got something for us, Joel?
Cool, man.
Yeah,
Joel.
I got a couple things. Couple things. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, it's working now.
Yep. Okay. All right, cool. Couple of things. First of all, as far as black people, as far as that goes, I talked to another brother at work about this before, and I said, well, we have to understand what other brothers and sisters have to understand, that we are the only people in this country who are born with a target on our back because of the color of our skin. That's how it is right now. Okay. And just to digress a little bit, a couple of incidents happened to me when I was in 9th grade and when I was in 12th grade. And one time, the first time when I was in 9th grade, I had actually been jogging and I got stopped by a white cop. According to him, I was running. See, when you're black, you're running, but when you're white, you're jogging. Okay, that's just how it goes. And he stopped me and questioned me and searched me, of course, and asked me why I was running. I said I was jogging. I was on the track team. And eventually he let me go there. I went home, I told my mother about it, and I went down to the police station, filed a report, like the other brother. Nothing came of it. This was like probably in 79, 80, something like that. Next time, I was walking through a neighborhood on the way from high school. This was a black cop who stopped me. And I walked this neighborhood all the time because it was between my high school and where I lived. Why are you in this neighborhood? I'm just going home. I was coming from the track. And asked me, why I asked things like that too. I said, well, I don't like cops. Just like that. And, he threw my ID at me. He got mad at me, threw my ID at me. Well, that's your problem. He threw my ID at me. It's okay. Whatever, motherfucker. I ain't say that, but that's what I thought. Okay. And so, I didn't want to get, jacked up right there, And when I think about that and I try to, inform a lot of the, the young brothers, I said, look, I said, don't get too close to white folks. My mother always told me that too when I was younger. I made that mistake. I ain't gonna lie, I made that mistake several times, and it came back to bite me in my ass. I tried to school the younger brothers on that. I said, look, they got all the privilege, they got all the entitlements. I said, they're privileged, they can do whatever the fuck they want when they want. Okay, that's part of their entitlement. You can't do that. I said, you go places, because we're in the Southwest Kansas here. I said, you got to watch yourself, man. I said, you don't get an attitude because there are a lot of secluded areas back here, where they can take your ass and you'll never get found. And so, and it gets me sometimes because oh man, I ain't worried about that. I got it. I said, I'm just letting you know from experience. There's many more. Fight for white people, white people. I thought our friends. And another thing you understand about that nigger thing, they all have it in them. It's just they get the right moment that they might just pull it out. And you will see it. They all have that shit in them. Even if your friends, because I get looked at and I laugh when we joke, we do everything, and I got some customers who are real cool with me, and we talk and this that, but the things that they don't want to talk about or who they never approach me about is race and politics, and they know I'll come at them with that, because especially what's going on and. They see my posts, many posts I have on Facebook, with my collage of my shirt. It's a collage of all the brothers and sisters who've been killed by the cops, everything. All the white folks who've seen that, I know, have never once spoke to me about that, about that shirt. And I already know why. They see me with my bracelets on that says Black Lives Matter. I wear them to work, they see them. I don't care. What are you going to do about it? The thing is, I'm not trying to say I got an attitude, but at the same time, I'm not going to take a backseat to anybody. I'm not going to bow down to you. I'm not going to kiss your ass. None of that shit. So if you come at me, with something stupid, I'm going to come at you threefold, and it's not going to be pretty. And so, there's a lot of things like that. That I see with some of the brothers. They, oh man, go along, get along. I said, fuck that. I ain't going along to get along with nobody. You either deal them straight with me or don't deal them at all. But you can pretty much spot the attitude in a lot of people who aren't black. You can spot the attitude that emanates from them, because you can tell their mannerisms change when you bring up certain topics, and the one thing I noticed that, a lot is that they expect you, when you speak to them, they expect you to look down and say, look at them in their eye. And, I always told my kids all the time, excuse me, I said, don't you bow your damn head to nobody. I said, look that motherfucker in the eye, I said, you don't know what he's doing. And look at him eye, watch his hands. I was taught that, years ago.
Listen.
And,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to cut you off. I feel like the next insurrection is definitely going to be people of color. And I feel like,
oh yeah,
it's not going, like the Capitol. No, I feel like there's just no interest in taking over senators and congressmen. There's just nothing there. I feel like the next insurrection is going to be for survival. Okay, and so I'm thinking cities, taking over cities. Not that I'm planning it. I'm not a conspiracy theory, but there are things happening in people's own backyards, that are not political. That's the other side of the coin. Like, everybody's so hyped about making America great again, and America is happening at home, not at the damn Capitol.
Right.
I get that they're
right.
making decisions, and the lawmakers, and I understand that. So let me not sound ignorant to that. I understand that aspect of it. However, it's the people that are leaving their home and have to face and fight America every day in the day-to-day, the interactions with their coworkers, who are avoiding them, who don't want to have the conversation, who are passive aggressive, who are, who want to have the conversations about your hair, but really don't want to talk about your hair.
Right.
This is a professional setting. Is there something you could do with that?
Right.
Those kinds of conversations, like, the microaggressions. So somebody's going to get the shit smacked out of them.
I think that, right. The conversations, if they approach you right, it'll go peacefully. But if they approach you in a stupid way, then you're obviously going to get some negative feedback, and they don't expect us to change our mannerism, because we're always supposed to be, as black people, we're always that second-class citizens. We know that, and we're always supposed to be passive. That means we have to be passive to them no matter what, and and that's just not going to happen. And when I talk to and speak to people about certain things, I said, look, this country is multicultural, and it's getting, in the 20 years, it's going to be like that. Everybody's going to be blending in. There is no pure race. There is, and I had people say, well, we're all all lives matter, and not just Black Lives Matter. But see, whenever they say all lives matter, wait, let me correct myself. Whenever they say Black Lives Matter, but they say but, that means they don't believe that shit. Because they have to use a but after they say Black Lives Matter, that means they're coming at you with some of this bullshit. Because if they believe that Black Lives Matter, they would never say but. But all lives matter. No, all lives don't matter, because if all lives matter, we will be getting shot 7 times in our back just for the hell of it. If all lives matter, I could be in my bed sleeping all of a sudden and I'm dead. Now, how's that happen?
Right.
I'm gonna play. So when people try to, say all lives matter, I know they're full of shit, because they don't. And if they really believe that Black Lives Matter, then they will have, this discussion, and and actually, try to contribute. But like I said, they always try to spin it. Oh, well, blue lives matter. Well, dumbass, there's no such thing as a blue life. Blue is a color of choice. You chose to put that damn uniform on, Well, it's not your damn skin color. That's what some of these dumbasses just don't seem to fucking understand.
Yeah,
You
they don't
know,
want to. They don't
and
want to have that
you know,
conversation, and it's easier to be passive aggressive about it.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what I'm saying. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. But see, I don't have to be aggressive about it, but I can just I can speak to them, but you know, their first reaction is, they're going to get pissed off about it. But like I said, to me, and if you had any kind of common sense, you understand. When I see that flag that they had that has a thin blue line, I'm like, you know what? That thin blue line don't mean shit to me. It really doesn't. And I don't have to come at them in an aggressive way. I mean, like I said, more often, a lot of the white folks I work with, and I run into on a daily basis. That's one thing that it seems like it's a internal thing not to speak to me about certain things that they know. I'm not going to, I'm not going to fall back on. I'm going to tell you. I'm gonna come at you blazing, let you know exactly. So they try to, to shift in, they try to and try to talk about different things. But they never want to talk about the political things. They don't want to talk about black people being murdered, even though you can see the injustice and everything going on. If you don't see, if you can't understand that that's wrong, then you're part of the problem. And and the system is totally screwed up. It was been screwed up since day one. We all know that. But the thing is, and I think I've written many times on Facebook, and Jen, my cousin there, I'm sure she's read a few things that I've written, about white privilege and white entitlement and the political thing, but. And I talked to guys. I said, look, white folks in general, they don't give a shit about politics. What's going on right now, they really don't. What they care about is two things: white entitlement and white privilege. That's
right.
it. If they lose two things, and they're scared of giving equality. If they have to give us equality, then they don't feel that they have that privilege and entitlement anymore.
Right. Well, I'm going to take a beat right there. Sean was having some technical difficulties, so he had to jump. I'm going to play our last piece of content for the evening, and then we can wrap this up because this has been quite long, but it's been very insightful. It's been informative. It's been therapeutic. It has been needed. It has been culture worthy, and it's been, I don't know, it's been black boy magic, it's been black girl magic, it's been everything. So like, I'm gonna play this last piece of content. Hold on, grab a snack, come right back. All right. I'm gonna play this.
If these insurrectionists were black, they would have been shot in the face. And my God, if these insurrectionists were Muslim, they would have been sniped from the top of buildings. So I want to know from the Capitol Hill police, what is it? Is it just white people? Or is it Donald Trump supporters? Why do you scream at people for walking across the street 3 blocks away from the Capitol? Why are you known as around the Capitol? But then Trump supporters come in and you open the doors for them. You open the doors for them and let them breach the people's house. What is wrong with you?
They pushed me out and paced me.
Oh, you're so petty, yo. That was funny as hell. You're wild petty. I love it though.
Yo, but did you see that? Like, she had an onion in her hand,
Yeah, she had the onion in the top.
Onion.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. I was just like, you know what? You can't with these people. These are deplorables, man. Like,
That onion signified that it was premeditated.
It was. They basically down. Who held it down?
totally. And they use their white privilege to do everything. Like they walked up to there, and I think because cops think that they're not talking about defund the police and this, that, and this, the wink, wink, they use that to get up on the Capitol and then just storm it because it was too many of them. That was the plan, and they knew that.
Yep.
Like
just to let you know where we are. I don't know if y'all there's a breaking news sticker, but two things. The first thing is the Dems do plan to introduce an impeachment resolution on Monday against Trump for incitement of an insurrection. The other thing is the New York Times just got a hold of a statement from Trump saying that he regrets condemning the violence at the Capitol, and he regrets saying that there will be a peaceful transfer of power. So, you know, for all the people who think that, you know, this man is, you know, he is who he is. He's a racist, he's a xenophobe, he's a homophobe, he's everything bad. And, you know, anytime that he ever backtracks anything that was negative and tries to turn around into a positive, is only because somebody wrote it for him and begged him to do so. He doesn't really mean it. He is who he is. His believers are who they are. And the Civil War is really going to ramp up. Because, like the guy said, it'll stick in my mind for a long time. We don't care. This is not about Trump's power. This is about war.
I agree with you. Trump is a PR nightmare, gift and a curse. At this point right now,
absolutely.
And also breaking news, he's managed to get 3 more Twitter accounts shut down because he has gone and tried to tweet. You know, my fiance just mentioned he tried to tweet from Trump for some sort of foundation. It was another one, and I think it was the First Lady's account too. I think he tried to tweet from.
This is the thing. He's really trying it. He's really trying it. Like he's trying to do it cool.
All this shit is shut down. He's like the biggest dummy ever. Like
he really is.
They're gonna shut all that. They just need to shut all the White House people accounts down. Period.
I made a post earlier about that. I said, you know, now that he's banned, get them burner accounts too. Get them all. Get everybody who was in his inner circle. Get them all.
All the IP addresses.
All of them. And because of this, the fact of the matter is that we are literally in a vulnerable position as a country. Because now with this happening on the Capitol on Wednesday, we are literally made vulnerable from the inside out. There are other countries watching. The majority of the countries in this world do not like us. We are a bully.
That was it.
We are a bully. And so now what's going to happen is that now that we're vulnerable from the inside out, everybody from the outside is going to think that they can pounce.
Exactly.
And say, okay, well, you know, they're breaking down from the inside. So now we'll just wait for our opportunity to, you know, to take advantage of our opportunity from the outside. And I believe if they do not get this man out of office, and if they do not, you know, somehow put in place, you know, that he can't release any kind of information, any kind of book, any kind of something, put something in place, this man is going to make us vulnerable when he's out of office. I mean, he is going to lose it, and he is going to reveal every secret, every, you know, anything that protects us as a country from the outside. I honestly believe that because he does not care. He honestly does not care. He's one of those people. He just honestly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a question I have for you, Chad. You think you could get a book deal out of this situation?
Absolutely. I'm sure there's a publishing house. They are clamoring.
Yep.
You know. So I mean, there was even talk of him starting his own, you know, news network because now he's trashing Fox News, and all 72 million of his voters are going to flock and watch his news network if he's allowed to go forward with it. All 72 million of his vote, of the people who voted for him, if he gets a book deal, they're going to go buy that book.
That's crazy.
Because I mean, he's going to tell it. He's going to say everything that he's ever wanted to say because the door is open.
Well, that's why he needs to get impeached so that he won't have that lifetime Secret Service protection anymore. And then Iran,
I agree.
they can just. I mean, I'm not saying what they're gonna do. I'm not saying, but whatever they gonna do,
Yeah.
they'll be able to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Yeah.
Y'all know where he lives.
Listen, I just want listen. If anybody in the universe, if you can hear me now, just don't bring that shit to New York. I feel like New York is a hot spot. DC, just keep that shit where. Just stay away. Just stop. Which is vulnerable. No attacks, please.
Well, remember, January 17th is the day that supposedly, you know, they're supposed to attack every capital in every state. All the capitals. Yep. On January 17th. So hopefully, and this was tweeted by multiple people. So hopefully, you know, the police are paying attention. National Guard is, you know, on standby, because, you know, look what they did on Wednesday. I wouldn't take January 17th as just top.
Exactly.
He's like, go get my water.
Yeah, Iran knows.
Mar-a-Lago. Go to Mar-a-Lago.
Exactly.
Go get them there.
Iran has a bounty. Iraq has an arrest warrant for him. We're not going to stop you.
He doesn't need any pardons. He doesn't need any of that. You know, none. And truth be told, none of his people have any loyalty to him. They don't have any loyalty to themselves. You know, listen, if they get subpoenaed and they need to do what they need to do, everybody's going to start sipping and singing for real. So I just, this has just been crazy. You know, everybody, Happy New Year. Be safe. You know, thank you all for joining and being a part. I truly appreciate you guys. Like I said, this has been therapeutic. It's been amazing. And so we'll probably do this again. I don't know when the next catastrophe is. Hopefully the inauguration goes well. You know, knock on wood.
Right.
Hopefully we won't be witnessing nothing crazy. We'll just be witnessing, you know, history being made, and hopefully we have course corrective behavior happening.
Yeah. I don't want to be a battlefield nurse.
Yes, and hopefully I have another stimulus check coming because I love my stimmies.
We take Georgia. They out our $2,000. So Joe, we're waiting. If you're watching, Uncle Joe, we're waiting.
Okay, you better put some on.
Well, it was said that
my money for my
we're
stimulus.
supposed to have a $2,000 stimulus by the second week of February.
Okay.
Once Joe actually takes office. So, you know, that's, you know, it was said. I can't verify that as of yet, but
well, that's great. Listen, if we don't get it, then I'm going to have to find my way down to Chocolisa. Okay, be down to the pink.
Well, I'm making my own OnlyFans.
Okay. What's up with these student loans?
Or OnlyFans, yeah.
Oh, the student loans. Oh my God!
These student loans is what need to go. Bump all the stimulus check shit. Like, let my student loans go. I'll be good.
They want to take over some. Y'all should. They took their dumb asses to the Department of Education, wherever the student loan information is housed. But a lot of them MAGAs probably didn't even go to. Never mind.
They should have said American Education Services,
right?
Or Great Lakes,
right?
Y'all gonna do something
and do something like help my brother out
as usual.
It's crazy. Well, listen, thank you guys so much. Have a good night. I can't believe it. 2 hours and 41 minutes, but it has been great. Thanks for hanging in, and we'll do it again. Chat soon.
Love talking to all of y'all, yo. It's great.
Yeah, this is good. Thank you, y'all.
Bye, Joel.
Nice meeting you guys.
Bye, Jen.
Bye, Pelvis. Bye, Ben.
Yeah, bye. All right, Kyle.